2 days passed quickly. 2 days passed quickly. These 2 days, Fireglass City was exceptionally quiet, so quiet that it made people afraid. In 4 pillars, there were many second-class families, nobles, ministers, all quietly waiting. They also smelled the dangerous scent in the air. In these 2 days, other than checking the progress of his alchemy, Long Fei cultivated his martial skills non-stop in the small forest. Toting skill, dragon salure technique, infinite shield, mountain hit fist, say is a mart. As long as the cooldown was over, he would be able to continuously cast it. In any case, he only needed to raise the level of the proficiency S to raise the damage, and the higher the level of the skills, the stronger the damage. As for the consumption of true breath, he didn't have to worry about it at all right now. The current Dragon Spirit Pill could give a hint of 1,500 true breath, and it could be used twice in 30 pellets. With Long Fei's current consumption of his true breath, this was enough for him to use. Night fell. It was time for the meeting. In the small courtyard, Long Fei looked at Lu Feng and said, "You guys have worked hard these past 2 days. Bring these people to rest." The amount of dragon spirit pills he had refined over the past 2 days and 2 nights was completely beyond his imagination. He had refined more than 15,000 pills. These 15,000 dragon spirit pills had allowed nearly 10,000 disciples of the Long family to break through. Now, their combat strength had increased by 2 whole levels. It was as fierce as a tiger. Lu Feng did not dawdle. He knew that Long Fei still had something very important to do, and he had to investigate these alchemy masters again. He had to ensure that the secrets of the dragon spirit pellet were not leaked out. Everyone withdrew. Long Fei released Xiaobai and said, "Xiaobai, tonight you will be stationed at the Long family, and if you encounter an expert from the War Master Ream, don't give him face, go up and bite him to death." Xiaobai muttered, "Master, I want to follow you to the Imperial Palace." He was worried about Long Fei. The current Xiaobai was also different from before. During this time, he did not stay idle, as he had already reached the 2nd level of Peak Realm. Long Fei slightly said, "With the ice and fire by your side, you don't have to worry about my safety. But I can't really be at ease with the Long family, though, since you are able to help grandfather and the others here." Actually, compared to the palace, the Long family was much more dangerous. Nangong Army, 3 Pillars Alliance. The Long family would definitely be fighting a hard battle. Xiaobai moved her body. "And ice and fire. Ice and fire. If Master has any mishaps, I won't forgive you." Binghua muttered, "Boss, don't worry. I definitely won't let Master get hurt." "That's more like it." Xiaobai nodded his head. "Master, I will listen to you. I will guard the Long family. If anyone dares to make a move against the Long family, I will kill them." Long Fei did not know, had already accepted the fire and ice as his underlings, because ice and fire were not Xiaobai's match. Long Fei looked at the leopard girl and said, "You are also staying in the Long family." The leopard girl giggled and said, "Big brother Long Fei, I won't run around." And then Long Fei looked at Jojo as the idea sank in and said, "Jojo, come with me to the Imperial Palace." "Huh?" Jojo was startled, and before he could react, he said, "Young master, I think it's better if I stay here. If I go to the Imperial Palace, I'll also embarrass you." She didn't want to embarrass Long Fei. Furthermore, he did not want to implicate Long Fei. Long Fei stared at her, stopping her from continuing, and said, "Who dares to laugh at you? I will make him kneel in front of you and admit his wrongs. Who says you are a servant?" Jojo muttered something. Long Fei arrogantly shouted, "Are you not going to listen to what I say? I told you to follow me, so follow me." Jojo nodded, then gently, "Oh, one of them." Long Fei continued, "Go and change your clothes. I will wait for you at the door." With that, Long Fei walked out. This time, The leopard girl did not argue and followed because she knew that the Long family would bring about a bitter battle. Jojo had no one to take care of him, but the palace was actually a relatively safe place. The leopard girl giggled and said, "Shadow sis, let's dress Sister Jojo up. She's so beautiful. If we dress her up again, she'll definitely be dead beautiful." Shadow nodded. "You're right. Jojo was very beautiful, especially that pair of eyes that was filled with spirit energy. She was unforgettable. All these years, she had been wearing the clothes of a servant girl and had never been properly dressed up. Half an hour later, the leopard girl giggled as she looked at Jojo. "Sister Jojo, you're going to die from being beautiful. Don't you know how beautiful you are?" She wore a white dress with 2 strands of silk flowing down her cheeks to her shoulders. She had a pointy chin, a straight nose, and a flawless yet unadorned face. Her face was white and rosy, and under her long eyelashes, her large eyes twinkled, causing one to be mesmerized, especially his aura, which naturally emanated from his body, which was noble, elegant, and untouchable. He was like a fairy that flew through the sky. The silhouette also followed and said, "Your beauty is something that even women would be jealous of. Go, follow the young lord, and search the entire city." Hee hee. The moment Jojo walked out of the courtyard gate, Long Fei's eyes were wide opened. He knew that Jojo was very beautiful. From the first glance, he could tell that she was beautiful, but he never expected her to be this beautiful. It really was like a fairy descending to the mortal world, breathtakingly beautiful. Seeing Long Fei's dazed eyes, Jojo's cheeks flushed red as she muttered, "Xiao, Xiao, young master, what's wrong?" Long Fei recovered and grabbed Jojo's hand, allowing her to hold onto his arm. He said with a face full of joy, "Tonight, just hold onto my arm like this." Too excited to have such a beautiful woman holding his arm, Long Fei didn't even dare dream about it in his previous life. He felt extremely proud of himself. Jojo lowered his head and softly replied, "MHM." Her cheeks were blushing, beautiful, charming, and moving to the point of being a mess. Imperial Palace, Zijin Hall. The place was brightly lit with dazzling splendor. All the handsome men and women of Fireglass City were present, the disciples of the nobles, the geniuses of the major powers, and their descendants. This was a gathering of noble disciples. It was also the first time that all the geniuses in Fireglass Dynasty had come into contact with it. They were here for only one purpose, to seize the championship. If one took first place, they would be awarded the token to become a disciple of the Heaven Sect. They wouldn't even need to take the examination and directly enter the Heaven Sect. Furthermore, they would be heavily rewarded by the Emperor. She would even marry the princess. This was a chance for many people to rise to the heavens in a single step. Suddenly, a voice came from outside the violet gold temple. Princess Nangong and young Master Dongfang Jian from the Heaven Sect have arrived. As soon as his voice faded, all the noble children went up to welcome him. Nangong Yen intimately walked beside Dongfang Jian, with the sound of a sky-blue cheongsam. Her hair was like black cloth that scattered onto her back, a slight smile on her face. A proud smile. Seeing that the crowd was welcoming her, she immediately grabbed Dongfang Jian's arm and acted even more intimate. It was also at this time Long Fei and Jojo walked in. Chapter 1, 8_8419/2356506. He had to say it. He had to say it. Nangong Yen was very beautiful. The #1 beauty in the Fireglass City had not come here for nothing. Moreover, this time, the chest of her dress was slightly open, and it was held high by 2 pegs, attracting a lot of attention. Both men and women were attracted to her. Nangong Yen enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. Ever since she was young, she had felt that she was the center of attention. No matter where she went, she would always be the center of attention. Dongfang Jian was also smiling with a courteous manner. Nangong Shao personally went up to receive him, hugged his hands, and said, "Brother Dongfang, it's really great that you can come to Banquet of Forbidden Peak today." Others could not welcome him, but Dongfang Jian was different. He was the son of sect leader Dongfang Xiong, and as long as he had a good relationship with him, there would definitely be benefits. Zhuge Jianxiang and Li Yi also went up to welcome him and said, "Brother Dongfang, how have you been?" Dongfang Jian was the same as Nangong Yen. He also enjoyed being the center of attention. He had a pleased look on his face, and his body was releasing an aura that was superior to others. Here, he was like a king. As the vice sect master's son and a peerless genius of the heaven sect, he had the right to be proud and complacent because he was a disciple of the heaven sect. It's Dongfang Xiong's son. Everyone surrounded Dongfang Jian and Nangong Yen, praising them nonstop. At this moment, a voice rang out, "Wow, who is that girl? She's too beautiful." As soon as he finished, everyone looked over with suspicion as they thought to themselves, "Beautiful." In the entire Fire Glass City, who could be more beautiful than Nangong Yen? Nangong Yen was Fire Glass City's #1 beauty. Who could compare to her? Nangong Yan's mouth had a disdainful sneer on it. If she was prettier than anyone, she could beat anyone, and she knew how to capture a man's heart. So beautiful. Oh my God, when did Fireglass City have such a beautiful female, heavenly immortal? It's really too beautiful. Who is she? Who is she? I want to know her. I want to know her. Are they letting me live? How can I be this beautiful? I can't take it anymore. I'm going to suffocate. The praises were not only from men, but also from women. To be able to get a woman to praise her beauty, she must be truly beautiful. Quite a few handsomely dressed youths walked up to her in a gentleman's manner. "Beautiful lady, you know your name?" "My name is Nangong Yao. I'm the 7th prince." "My name is Wu Tianyu, and I'm the prime minister." "Wu Qingzhou is my father." "My name is—" There were countless of handsome men who reported their names and identities in front of Jojo. Their eyes could not leave Jojo at all. Those large, intelligent eyes seemed to be able to bring them into another world. Slowly, the number of people surrounding Dongfang Jian and Dongfang Jian lessened. In the end, even Nangong Shao went over and surrounded him. Zhuge Tianlong and Li Yi even ran over. There was no one by Nangong Yan's side now. And furthermore, even Dongfang Jian, who was standing beside her, was tiptoeing, making Nangong Yan extremely unhappy. "Humph! I want to see who dares to compete with me. Nangong Yan!" Nangong Yan was extremely displeased, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. More and more people gathered around him. "Why did you bring your groom here?" "Hey, where did this beggar come from?" Eunuch Lu quickly ordered people to chase him out. "Where did this beggar come from? How can anyone come to Banquet of Forbidden Peak?" The beggar, the coachman, was naturally referring to Long Fei. Compared to each and every one of them wearing gorgeous clothing, Long Fei really did look like a beggar on the street. A thin and long robe without any extravagance, and there weren't any jewelry or accessories on his body, making him look like a poor person. It was completely unfit to be with Jojo. They squeezed Long Fei out. It was also because Elder Lu had good eyes. Seeing Long Fei being squeezed out of the crowd, he trembled slightly and said, "Young Marquis." Just as he was about to say Long Fei's name, Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Forget it." It was also at this time. Eunuch Lu said in a low voice, "Young lord, the Grand Preceptor has already instructed me to do my best to protect you." Huh. Long Fei trembled slightly. He glanced at Lu Hai, but his expression did not change at all. That's for sure. The Long family had been in the Fire Glass dynasty for so many years that every head of the family knew that the Nangong family viewed the Long family as their number one threat. It was impossible for the Long family to not be prepared. Even though Long Sanfeng had not done anything during this period of time, he was not idle. He had activated all of the Long family's spies. Lu Hai was one of the spies. The strength of the Long family spies was second only to that of the Long family's army. In the distance, the three sisters walked into the Purple Palace. From far away, Xiao Tiantian saw a group of people encircling one another. The first thing Xiao Tiantian saw was a servant who seemed to have been brought in by someone. Ha ha ha! What is Long Fei doing, standing there in a daze? Yi Zian also saw it and laughed. What is Long Fei waiting for? Lu Luoshi warned in a low voice and said, no one is allowed to tell Long Fei about us being punished. Got it, eldest senior sister. Senior sister, you've already said it 18,000 times. Your ears are going to recognize the cocoon. Xiao Tiantian chuckled and ran over. He didn't know if it was because he had ran too fast or because he had pulled open the wound on his back, but the moment he rushed to Long Fei's side, his legs became unsteady from the intense pain. Long Fei's hands moved quickly. With one step, he caught up to Xiao Tiantian. Yi Zian was stunned. Her heart was filled with rage. Little junior sister apprentice, you really are good at doing this. At the same time, she did the same, and it was very lifelike, exactly the same. She slipped and was about to fall, but because she did too much, the whip wounds on her back opened, causing her face to pale in pain. Long Fei was shocked. His left hand moved, and his body slightly leaned back to use one hand to support Yi Zian. Long Fei was unable to stand steadily. He used all the strength in his hands and pulled both of them into his embrace. It was also at this time Eunuch Lu grabbed onto the opportunity and said loudly, Heaven Sec's Lu Luoshi, Yi Zian, Xiao Tiantian has arrived. The voice was very loud, and it instantly attracted everyone's attention. Then they all looked at Xiang Long Fei. Xiao Tiantian leaned on Long Fei's shoulder with a face full of happiness, and Yi Zian also had a face full of enjoyment, with no intention of leaving. Lu Luoshi also walked over and glanced at the green-faced Nangong Yen from the corner of his eyes, intentionally asking, Young Hero Long, do you still have more shoulders? Finished. She slipped two. Holy **T. Again. Long Fei exerted strength in his right arm and fiercely flicked Xiao Tiantian up slightly. Then, his fingers pulled Lu Luoshi's small hand along with him. Lu Luoshi turned around and leaned right in the middle of Long Fei's chest. Table of contents, Xiao Tiantian also returned to his right arm. The three sisters were leaning into Long Fei's embrace with happiness written all over their faces. This wasn't it. Jojo also walked up. Chapter 2, 8_8419/2356507. What was going on? What was going on? Who is this person? Who is this person? Fuck, who is he? Can you blast it out for me? All the handsome young men were asking, their eyes burning with rage, looking straight at the three women from the Sky Sect, who were all in Long Fei's embrace. In their eyes, Long Fei was just a coachman or even a beggar. How could there be so many women who liked him? Moreover, the three Heaven Sect sisters still purposely fell on his body. What is this? Even Jojo walked towards him. Everyone held their breaths and looked at Jojo with dumbstruck expressions. What is she trying to do? It can't be. My eyes. I don't want to live anymore. After living for so many years, I feel as though I am no better off than a beggar. They had lost all hope, because Jojo walked to Long Fei's side, held Long Fei's left hand, and gently leaned on his shoulder with a face full of blush and happiness. It wasn't an act, it was a feeling. Everyone felt like the sky was about to collapse. Their bodies were all shaking, and they couldn't stand still. They shook their heads and said incoherently, "Impossible, impossible, this is impossible. My eyes are going blind. Who is it? Who is it?" They were all stunned. The four women were glued to the coachman. This person was dressed like a poor person and did not have the slightest hint of wealth or splendor. How could he be that attractive to women? Were they poisoned? Even Nangong Shao was startled and asked, "Eunuch Lu, who is this person?" During the time Long Fei had been training in the great desolate mountain ranges, he had matured quite a bit, and his face had darkened quite a bit. Eunuch Lu looked at Xiang Longfei, and only after seeing him nod his head lightly did he say, "Holy Dragon Mansion, young Master Longfei." As soon as his voice faded, the entire arena was startled, and the surrounding crowd quickly quieted down. At this moment, Nangong Yan's eyes turned sinister as the muscles at the corners of his eyes twitched. He immediately released a wave of killing intent that seeped into his bones. Moreover, when she saw the four women on Long Fei's body, she was extremely unhappy, like a rooster who had lost a battle. She wasn't as big as Yi Zian. Compared to being cute, she was not as cute as Xiao Tiantian. Competing on temperament, Lu Luoshi was even stronger than her. Comparing their appearances as a whole, Jojo left her in the street, and the otherworldly aura that he gave off made her feel inferior. None of these four women were any worse than her. Furthermore, all of them liked a single man. She was not in a good mood. She wished that Long Fei would kneel in front of her and beg her for her help. She wished that every man would kneel in front of her and beg for her help, including Dongfang Jian. She was very unhappy. "He is Long Fei, the one riding the dragon. Wasn't his dragon blood sucked out and turned into trash? What qualifications does he have to come to the banquet of Forbidden Peak? That's right, what qualifications does a broken pubis have to come here?" Everyone whispered to each other. Nangong Yin coldly snorted and said, "Long Fei, have your Long family members all died? You actually brought a lowly servant to the feast. If you can't woo me, then don't be so hungry." Disdain was written all over his face. Nangong Yen even pretended to be aloof and self-righteous, causing everyone to think that Long Fei had brought a servant to the feast because he was unable to pursue Nangong Yen. Many people looked at Nangong Yen, and it was as if she had found her own center of focus. "Am I wrong? Even though we have an engagement, I don't like you at all. All these years, you shamelessly pursued me, and now that you can't catch up to me anymore, you just have to find your maidservant. You truly are lamentable. Have you said enough?" Xiao Tiantian immediately became displeased and said, "I have endured you for a long time. If it wasn't for Long Fei, I would have ripped your mouth apart long ago." Yi Zian laughed and scolded, "Junior sister apprentice, don't be like a self-righteous bitch. Didn't you see the men beside her exchanged with each other? Why are you so angry with such a slut?" Nangong Yan's eyes turned sinister, and he shouted, "Who are you calling a bitch?" Yi Zian was not someone to be trifled with. Stepping forward, she directly stood in front of Nangong Yen, pointed at his nose, and said, "I said you are a bitch, and you, Nangong Yen, are a bitch. Shall I repeat it? You, Nangong Yen, are lowly human." Word for word. Xiao Tiantian immediately walked to Yi Zian's side and chuckled, "Senior sister is mighty." Nangong Yan's face turned green and red. His entire body shivered. However, she didn't dare to do anything to them. In terms of strength, they weren't weaker than her. In terms of status, her position as a princess was inferior to their status as the daughters of inner court elders. Compared to nothing, there was no advantage. His heart was filled with incomparable rage. Nangong Yen anxiously said, "Big brother Jian." Dongfang Jian slightly shouted, "Don't go overboard." "Yo." Long Fei smiled faintly, walked up and said, "Isn't this Brother Green Hat? Did you check her knee last time?" I was drunk that time, and I became hazy. Last time, it wasn't a series of pa pa pa, but rather I knelt on the ground and toyed with my lips. That feeling, it doesn't feel good. She gave it to you, right? How about it?" Long Fei looked at Dongfang Jian and laughed. Immediately, someone beside him asked, "I know about that, but what is it?" Or with the mouth. F***CK, you don't even know this? Didn't it appear on the Spring Palace's map when I showed it to you last time? Huh. So that's how it is. That's great. To think that Princess Nangong would know such a trick. We have been getting married for so many years. Who can endure watching a beauty like Nangong Yen? If you want me, I can't help it either. Her voice wasn't loud, but Nangong Yen could hear her very clearly. Dongfang Jian's face became even uglier. He knew that Long Fei was speaking nonsense, but he was still unhappy in his heart, as if his toy had been played around with before. Nangong Yen shouted, "Long Fei, come and slander me if you can't get me. Tonight, I will definitely get the Emperor Uncle to rescind this engagement." "I want you, Long Fei, to kneel in front of me," Jojo said angrily. You slut, young master won't kneel down to you." "Wow, so cute. Cursing people is always so cute. Long Fei's luck with women is too good." Nangong Yan's eyes turned sinister as he shouted, "You lowly girl, who do you think you are? What status do you have? You don't even have the qualifications to speak to me." Long Fei's eyes were filled with anger. Lu Luoshi moved forward slightly and said, "Princess Nangong, who do you think you are? And who do you think you are?" "Sister-in-law, 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system." His aura crushed everything in his path. She was worried that Long Fei would be angered. She knew Long Fei's temper very well. She would really slap him in front of everyone. At that time, the banquet of Forbidden Peak today would not be able to do anything. The Emperor's driving to Chapter 38_8419/2356508. Nangong Hua and Xiao Changfeng walked into the Violet Gold Temple. Nangong Hua and Xiao Changfeng walked into the Violet Gold Temple. The two of them were talking and laughing. Seeing that a group of people were gathered at the entrance of the hall, Nangong Hua laughed lightly. "Why are you not entering?" "Greetings, Your Majesty." Many people kneeled down. The people kneeling were basically the sons and daughters of a certain minister. Nangong Yen also bowed slightly and said, "Welcome, Emperor Uncle." Many people kneeled down to pay their respects, but Long Fei did not move an inch. The ancestor of Nangong had once given an order that the Long family did not have to kneel to anyone in Fire Glass Dynasty. That was why the Long family's knees were more precious than gold. With this privilege, Long Fei would of course want to enjoy it. Nangong Hua did not appear to be angry on the surface, but he smiled and said, "Get up, all of you. There are no monarchs tonight, only friends." While they were talking, he walked to Long Fei's side and said, "You must be Long Fei. After so many years, you have grown quite a bit." Long Fei also laughed lightly. "His Majesty the Emperor has also aged quite a bit. I can't really recognize him either." Huh. Everyone shivered. This was a huge disrespect to Nangong Hua. Nangong Yen immediately said, "Long Fei, how dare you be so presumptuous towards Uncle Emperor?" One of the imperial bodyguards immediately shouted from beside Nangong Hua, "Long Fei, you dare to be rude to His Majesty?" Nangong Hua laughed. Long Fei was only speaking the truth. I have indeed aged quite a bit. Come in. Even though he said this, he was still laughing coldly in his heart. He thought to himself, his true abilities are revealed, and he doesn't know how to hide them. Such an arrogant and conceited person won't live for long. Wait, Nangong Yen suddenly called out. Emperor Uncle, all the years in Banquet of Forbidden Peak, you have to be a talented genius to be able to participate. I would like to ask, when the pubes is broken, the dragon's blood is sucked out, is this kind of trash with stagnant veins qualified to participate? Everyone stopped and looked at Long Fei. Xiao Tian was instantly enraged. Without waiting for her to speak, Long Fei took a step forward and said with a smile, Princess Nangong is right. This kind of trash does not have the qualifications to participate. Trash? You are even worse than trash. As long as Nangong Yen dared to say something, Long Fei would definitely challenge him. Nangong Yan's eyes turned sinister. Many people said, young Marquis Long is the future divine dragon Marquis. He doesn't have the qualifications to participate. Exactly. They were well aware of Long Fei's strength. If he really wanted to challenge them, they probably wouldn't even have the qualifications to do so. Nangong Yen slightly smiled and said, the divine dragon Marquis naturally has the qualifications to participate. I didn't say that he can't participate. I meant that the servants he brought don't have the qualifications to participate. As soon as he finished, Nangong Yen pointed at Jojo's nose and said, do you dare to say that you're not Long Fei's servant? Do you dare to say that you are not a lowly person? Do you dare to say that you have the slightest bit of cultivation? You are nothing. You are just a lowly commoner. You have no right to participate in the Banquet of Forbidden Peak at all. Nangong Yen said in an extremely sharp voice. Jojo took a small step back and hid beside Long Fei. His body was trembling, and he lowered his head. It was as if she didn't belong in this world. It was as if she was an ugly duckling. Facing Nangong Yan's questioning, facing her overbearing attitude, and facing her arrogance, Jojo felt inferior in his heart. He said to Long Fei in a low voice, young master, I'll go back to the Long family first. Her heart was in pain. It was not because of her, but because she had lost face for Long Fei, causing Long Fei to feel embarrassed. If it wasn't for him, Nangong Yen simply couldn't find the place to attack Long Fei. Zhuge Jianxiang said, if that's really the case, then she doesn't have the qualifications to attend. This is a gathering of geniuses. What does she count as? It's just having a good body. If that's the case, then all of the women from the Yihong courtyard can participate. Li Yi followed, saying, you are right. Anything is not enough to qualify to attend the banquet. Furthermore, Long Fei brought a low-level servant to attend the banquet. You are insulting the Banquet of Forbidden Peak. I think that you do not put His Majesty in your eyes at all. Princess, you're right. If you really are a servant, then you can't participate. Otherwise, you really don't put the Banquet of Forbidden Peak in your eyes. This is a banquet that the great ancestor has decided on. Long Fei, seriously, doesn't even know the least bit of respect. Everyone began to talk. Jojo hid behind Long Fei like a frightened little kitten, not daring to raise her head. If Long Fei did not hold her back tightly, she would have run out. Xiao Tiantian's fiery temper flared up, but he couldn't care less, and shouted, who said she's a servant? She's my sworn sister. What's wrong? Yi Zian also said, she's also my sworn sister. Lu Luoshi said slightly, Your Majesty, Jojo is the sworn sister of us three sisters. Isn't this status enough? Nangong Hua laughed faintly, but did not immediately speak. Nangong Yen laughed sinisterly. You three sisters are inner sect disciples. Your identities are not fake. But so what if you say that she is the sworn sister? She's still a lowly person, unless she has the token to qualify to enter the Heaven sect. While they were talking, Nangong Yen immediately brought out his Heaven sect's medallion, who was prepared to shock everyone. He stared at Long Fei and asked, "Does she have this medallion?" The word inside on the token was especially eye-catching. Everyone was shocked. This is the token only the inner disciples of the Heaven sect possess. Heavens! Princess Nangong has already been specially recruited. So powerful. Princess Nangong is too powerful. All of them stared at Zhang Xian with envious gazes. The reason why they were participating in the Banquet of Forbidden Peak was to compete for the position of the outer sect disciples, but Nangong Yen had already obtained the inner sect's order badge, which meant she did not need any assessment to become an inner sect disciple. This identity is extraordinary. Nangong Yen was very pleased with herself, incomparably pleased with herself. Hearing the shocked voices around her, her heart was incomparably superior as she asked again, "Do you have one?" Xiao Tian really couldn't hold it back and really wanted to charge forward and tear Nangong Yan's mouth apart. However, still can't change the status quo. Jojo did not have an order badge. Jojo was almost forced to tears and said softly, "Young master, I'm sorry. I'm useless. I've implicated you. I'll go. You let me go. I'll only embarrass you if I stay." Equals half carrot float hashtag life carrot Jojo was blaming himself very much, extremely blaming himself very much. She knew that Long Fei was very strong and that the Banquet of Forbidden Peak would definitely shock everyone with one brilliant feat. She didn't want to implicate Long Fei because of her. Long Fei turned around and cupped Jojo's face with both hands and smiled lightly. "Jojo, are you the best? In my heart, you are invincible. You have the qualifications, right?" Long Fei sneered. Chapter 48_8419/2356509. Jojo felt so sad that Long Fei's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. Jojo felt so sad that Long Fei's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. It was very hard. Thinking back to that night when Jojo was willing to give up his body to protect him, Long Fei's heart became incomparably heavy. At that moment, Jojo was invincible in his heart. Jojo was the reverse scale in the depths of his heart. No one could bully him. No one could. You want the qualifications, right? Then he would fiercely slap Nangong Yan's face with his qualifications. Jojo's tears started to drip from her eyes as she shook her head speechlessly. The three Heaven sect sisters were also furious. Nangong Yan's face was full of pride. Zhuge Jianxiang, Li Yi's face was also filled with glee. Seeing Long Fei's embarrassed look, they all felt extremely happy in their hearts. "Long Fei, take your servant and get lost." "Exactly. This is not a place where lowly people like you and trash can come to." "Ha ha ha. Go back." A mocking laughter rang out. Nangong was stood quietly at the side, as though he was a spectator watching a show, and did not say anything, as though everything that happened had nothing to do with him. Long Fei pulled Jojo's hand and said quietly, "Jojo, wait for me." Jojo lowered his head and lightly tapped it. Long Fei said to Lu Luoshi, "Help me take care of Jojo. If anyone dares to touch a single hair on her head, kill them." Lu Luoshi immediately nodded his head and asked, "Long Fei, what do you want to do? Don't do anything stupid." "Silly thing. Long Fei, never do foolish things. Aren't they asking for the qualifications?" Long Fei laughed coldly. "Then I'll give her the qualifications to be above everything else." "They don't understand." Long Fei did not explain. Long Fei walked to the side of Eunuch Lu and asked, "Are there chickens here?" Eunuch Lu was startled. He then looked towards Nangong Hua, who nodded and immediately said, "There should be some in the kitchen. Young Marquis Long, what do you want the chickens for? Long Fei said indifferently, just bring me there. While they were talking, Long Fei stared at Nangong Yen and sneered, and said, humph. He harumphed coldly, and quickly followed Eunuch Lu. What does he want to do? What can he do? Looking for a chicken? Could he be looking for a female branch? Ha ha! Nangong Yen laughed complacently, and said, low-level servants will forever be low-level servants, and will never change, understand? While they were talking, she looked at Jojo, who had his head lowered, and snorted in her heart, fight with me? You don't even have the qualifications to carry my shoes, and you still want to fight with me? Humph! She couldn't win against the 3 Lu Luoshi sisters, no matter what the reason was. However, Jojo was different. Just his identity alone was enough to crush her like 1,000 miles. Furthermore, the more Long Fei thought about it, the more fun it would be for her to hit Jojo. She could feel the anger in Long Fei's heart. Once upon a time, her anger had reached the sky as well. Zhuge Jianxiang and Li Yi also laughed complacently and said, I think he doesn't dare to stay here any longer, searching for chickens. That's what he said. Xiao Changfeng also said slightly, Your Majesty, the time has come. Banquet of Forbidden Peak can begin. Dongfang Jian laughed with satisfaction. Your Majesty the Emperor, why wait for a trash? Nangong smiled faintly and said, Then Nangong Yen took Nangong's arm and said coquettishly, Emperor Uncle, there's plenty of time tonight anyways. Let's wait here for a while longer. I just want to see why Long Fei is looking for chickens. Actually, she just wanted to see Long Fei make a fool of himself. Furthermore, she felt that Long Fei had definitely left the imperial palace. If that was the case, it might have an impact on his father's plan. And then, Nangongyan then continued, Uncle Emperor, why not send a guard to keep an eye on Long Fei? This is the crime of bullying the monarch. Nangong Yen gave Dongfang Jian a glance, and Dongfang Jian immediately said, Princess is right. Bringing a servant here is already disrespectful to His Majesty. If he were to escape again, then he really wouldn't put you in his eyes. Zhuge Jianxiang and Li Yi immediately said, Right, we will wait for him here. We would like to see what tricks he can come up with. Nangong smiled slightly and said, This is a banquet for you youngsters, no matter what you say, so what? I will not interfere. He also wanted to know whether Long Fei had escaped, or if he wanted to do something. Immediately, Nangong said slightly, General Yuan, go take a look. Yuan Bin immediately said, Yes. He immediately ran to catch up. A group of people stood outside the Violet Gold Temple, waiting. Xiao Tiantian was also secretly anxious in his heart and asked in a low voice, Big Senior, what is Long Fei planning to do, and why is he looking for chickens? Yi Zian did not understand and asked, Senior sister, you know Long Fei the best. What is he trying to do? Lu Luoshi shook his head and said, I don't know either, but I believe he will definitely come back. We'll just have to wait. Jojo bit her tongue as tears rolled down her face. She tried her best not to let her voice escape, as she said internally, It's all my fault. It's all my fault. It's all because of me. She had always wanted to change. Watching the 3 sisters of Lu Luoshi step out of the martial arts arena twice to protect Long Fei, watching the leopard girl that Long Fei had brought back from the great desolate mountain range, watching her shadow. They were both high-level martial artists and had extraordinary combat strength. But what about her? Other than cooking and washing clothes, she could not help Long Fei at all. In this period of time, she had been wanting to break through and cultivate, but no matter how hard she tried, she could not do it. She wanted to be able to cultivate just like Lu Luoshi and the others so that she wouldn't drag Long Fei down and help him. Jojo, don't cry. They will be happier the more you cry. Lu Luoxi said calmly. Xiao Tian also said, "You're so beautiful. Your beauty makes us all jealous. You won't look good if you cry." Yi Zian also said, "Yeah, I've never seen a girl as beautiful as you. We're all jealous." Eunuch Lu anxiously followed Long Fei and said, "Young master, why are you looking for a chicken? I really don't understand." At this time, Yuan Bin chased after him with large strides, walked to Long Fei's side, and knelt down on one knee. "Young master." Long Fei trembled. "You too." Yuan Bin nodded his head heavily and said, "This life of mine was saved by the Grand Elder. The brothers from the palace have all been prepared. As long as you give the order, they can immediately." Long Fei continued to walk forward. His heart was filled with shock as he thought to himself, "Grandpa is so awesome." Yuan Bin went up to stop him and said, "Young master, don't look for another chicken. It's more important." Eunuch Lu also said, "That's right. Young master, the greater picture is the most important." They arrived at the royal kitchen. Long Fei immediately rushed in and saw a chef killing chickens. He immediately stepped forward and said, "Let me do it." Immediately, Long Fei immediately summoned his dragon salyer and slashed down. The idea moved. Activate striking attribute. Ding. Chapter 5. 8_8419/2356510. Striking attribute touch. Striking attribute touch. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing chicken for obtaining 0 points in experience points, 0 points in True Breath S, and 0 points in Energy Values S. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Phoenix Blood Lineage. At this moment, the dragon salyer released a hungry voice, causing Long Fei's heart to tremble, but he immediately shouted out, "You cannot touch the blood lineage." Very serious, very serious. Long Fei was really afraid that the dragon salyer would absorb him by itself. The dragon salyer sunk and slowly quieted down. Long Fei's heart relaxed. He turned to look at Eunuch Lu and said, "Return to the Zijin Hall." Huh. The two of them were dumbstruck. They didn't understand why Long Fei ran over to the imperial kitchens to kill a chicken. Even the chef from before was startled. Long Fei walked far away and muttered, "Are you crazy?" Along the way, Long Fei was extremely excited. If a toad could produce a divine ranked martial technique, why couldn't a chicken reveal a divine ranked blood lineage? Furthermore, Long Fei had not released his striking attribute during this period of time, which caused the accumulated energy to become even more intense. Previously, he did not even use his striking attribute to kill Nangong Lai at the Long family's martial arts arena, because he wanted to leave it for Nangong, who was to see if he could bring out the dragon salyer. Nangong Yen was arrogant. Jojo's expression was gloomy, his heart extremely low in self-esteem. Long Fei's heart ached to death. He had always been considering whether or not he should give Jojo some high-level blood lineage as a try. Today, he really couldn't hold it in anymore. Item: Phoenix Blood Lineage Grade. Divine Level Description: the blood of the divine phoenix of the ninth heaven. The one who has fused with it is only female. Description 2. The phoenix blood lineage selects a person to fuse with them. Once a person identified by the phoenix blood lineage is able to fuse with one, the other person is unable to do so. Description 3. The user can obtain endless phoenix power. Looking at the system's description, Long Fei was secretly shocked in his heart. To be able to compare to the dragon god's blood lineage, it's just that. To choose someone to fuse with this, can Jojo fuse them? Holy vein and ordinary blood lineage were not connected. It has a certain amount of self-awareness, and once it disagrees, no matter how you fuse it, you can't succeed. Could Jojo succeed? Long Fei was not sure, but he was worried about this all along. He's back. He's back. That brat Long Fei is back. Outside the hall, everyone looked at Long Fei, who had walked into the Purple Gold Academy, and revealed a disdainful sneer. Quite a few people laughed and asked, "Young Marquis Long, did you find a chicken? How many eggs did I lay for you? Do you want to find a chicken to eat?" Ha ha ha. A wave of mocking laughter rang out. Nangong Yin looked at Long Fei and furrowed her brows tightly. She was incomparably pleased with herself as she mocked, "Long Fei, let's see what else you can do today." Humph. Dongfang Jian also had a face full of satisfaction. He also hated Long Fei to the bone. Long Fei walked up the stairs and out of the great hall. In his heart, he was still worried about whether or not Jojo could fuse with the Phoenix blood lineage. Xiao Tian asked in a low voice, "Long Fei, how is it?" Yuan Bin reported truthfully to Nangong. "Hua, reporting to your majesty, Long Fei only killed a chicken and then returned. He did not try to escape." Nangong Hu waved his hands, looking at Long Fei with a face full of curiosity. "Why would he want to kill a chicken?" Nangong Yen laughed complacently. "Long Fei, you've killed chicken too. Now I'll trouble you to bring this lowly place out. Don't treat this as the place where your servants of the Long family stay." Humph, you actually dare to reveal your lowly status. You really bring shame to the Long family. With a status like yours, you want to become my fiancé? Are you even worthy? Nangong Yen was as proud as a peacock. Jojo's eyes became watery. He walked to Long Fei's side and said in a low voice, "Young master, I'm fine by myself. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I am indeed a servant of the Long family." Long Fei heard her voice and felt as if his heart was being pierced by needles. Lu Luoshi also grabbed onto Jojo and said, "Little sister, don't be like this." Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and thought, "No matter what, I have to give it a try." While they were talking, Long Fei took out the Phoenix Profound Beast, and just as he was about to speak, the drop of Phoenix blood essence on his palm couldn't be controlled, and a large amount of power continuously sprayed out. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Deafening sounds of thunder could be heard from the void. Next was no longer able to control it. He spread open his 5 fingers, and that drop of Phoenix blood lineage flew up into the air. Woo-woo, wah-wah. All kinds of strange bird calls sounded, and countless godlike powers were released. Bam! With the explosion of his blood essence, a golden phoenix flew into the sky, revolving nonstop. Powerful divine energy was constantly released, enveloping the entire palace with this golden radiance, as if a miracle had occurred. Everyone was stunned. He had never seen such a scene before. Furthermore, no one had ever seen the legendary phoenix. Is this a phoenix blood lineage? It really is a phoenix blood lineage. The phoenix blood lineage is going to choose a person to fuse with. She's going to choose a person here. When countless women stood out, these legendary divine blood lineage would choose to fuse together. They would make all sorts of alluring movements at the phoenix silhouettes hovering in midair. Quickly enter my body. I am the true spirit of the phoenix. It's me. The phoenix blood lineage is mine. They were all bleeding from the head. The phoenix shadow remained unmoved. At this time, Nangong Yen arrogantly walked out, looked at the phoenix simulacrum in the sky, and said, "I am the phoenix master, and only I have the qualifications to fuse with the phoenix blood lineage." The phoenix shadow let out a cry. Long Fei secretly shouted in his heart, "Fuck, don't tell me you really chose this slut." Then, he had been worried the whole time. If it was really merged by Nangong Yen, then he was F** king screwed. Hearing the bird cry, Nangong Yen became even more pleased. Did you see that it spoke to me? And the Phoenix Lord quickly enter my body. Wow. Another cry rang out, and then the Phoenix shadow swooped down. He swooped down towards Nangong Yen. She had always felt that she was different from the others. So it turned out that she was the master of a phoenix as long as she fused with a phoenix blood lineage. What could a mere Long Fei amount to? Huh. Ah. Nangong Yen kept retreating, only to see that the phoenix shadow's claws were actually reaching her face. Her face was pale white, and she was retreating quickly. Plop! Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life's strongest upgrade system, she fell to the ground, and the phoenix phantom angrily roared at her. Wow! The divine power smashed down heavily. Ah! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Nangong Yen quickly knelt down and kowtowed. He was so scared that his entire body was trembling, and he was incomparably afraid. He had never been this afraid before, not even when he was kneeling on the ground under Long Sanfeng's pressure back then. Chapter 68_8419/2356511. Was it fusing with Nangong Yen? Was it fusing with Nangong Yen? Or what? Everyone who saw the phoenix shadow rush down was shocked. Many of the girls even screamed. Nangong Yen was paralyzed on the ground, with one hand covering his eyes. He did not dare open his eyes, but he was afraid in his heart, feeling very proud of himself in the midst of all this fear. Because this could be a sign before the fusion of the phoenix blood lineage. That must be it. She would become a phoenix heavenly girl, and will forever be the unparalleled blood lineage. If that was the case, then no matter how insignificant Long Fei was, no matter what the Long family, they would all be stepped on under her feet. Phoenix blood lineage, holy vein. She might not be unrivaled in the world, but after fusing with a sect, she would definitely soar to the heavens. She would have the qualifications to be proud of her existence. However, things were not as she had expected. The phoenix silhouette let out a hiss, frightening her to the ground. Her body flipped, and her long feathers scattered a bit of golden light. Lu Luoshi dispersed, and Yi Xian also ran, only to see the phoenix phantom standing quietly in front of Jojo, its expression incomparably respectful, as if it was looking at its master. Stunned. Everyone was stunned. Everything happened too quickly and dramatically. Wasn't it about to charge into Nangong Yan's body? Why did it suddenly stop in front of Jojo? Jojo was startled, seeing the phoenix phantom radiating with holy light. She crouched down and muttered, "Are you looking at me?" The phoenix phantom nodded. Long Fei said, "Jojo, fuse with her." Jojo looked at Long Fei and asked, "Did you choose me?" I don't know anything, not even the least bit of cultivation. Choosing me might be the wrong choice. Why don't you choose Big Sister Luoshi, Big Sister Ziyan, and Big Sister Tian instead, facing the holy vein, who wouldn't be moved? But Jojo was thinking about others. If she couldn't help Long Fei, even if she could only fuse the holy vein, it would be a waste. It would be better to let Lu Luoshi and the others fuse them so that they could push the strength of the blood lineage to the limit, and then help Long Fei even more. She was just that stupid. The three Lu Luoshi sisters were extremely shocked. Compared to Jojo, they felt like they were inferior in their hearts. I ask myself, if they were facing the holy vein, would they be able to do this? Jojo was too kind, too pure. Was there anyone in this world who was not kind and pure? Lu Luoshi slightly said, "Jojo, she chose you to be its master, and only you are able to fuse with it. No one else is allowed to. This is a New Year gift from Long Fei." Yi Xian and Xiao Tian were so moved that they were about to cry, was moved by Jojo's kindness. Jojo looked at Long Fei, who nodded and said, "Fuse with it." It was also at this time Nangong Yen crawled up from the ground, his expression ferocious. Like a shrew, he rushed forward and said, "The person the phoenix blood lineage chose is me. What qualifications does a lowly commoner like you have to fuse with it? It is mine. The phoenix blood lineage is mine." He took a step forward. Long Fei moved, and instantly appeared in front of Nangong Yen and slapped down. Bang! Dongfang Jian was quick to react, and thrusted his sword out. Shua! The aura of the Peak War Chief was released, and a strong pressure pressed down on Long Fei's sea of consciousness, causing his speed to slow down. Nangong Yen released the aura of the War Chief from his body, and dodged Long Fei's slap. Two were enraged, and the sword at his waist directly pierced towards the center of Xiang Longfei's brows. Die! It came too fast. Moreover, Dongfang Jian's aura of the Peak War Chief was released at full power, and was extremely sharp. The two of them exchanged sword attacks. With all their strength, they attacked Xiang Longfei. Longfei's brows sank. The pressure from his cultivation realm started to cause him to panic. Jojo cried out in alarm, "Young master, be careful!" At this moment, she seemed to have moved her spiritual consciousness. The Phoenix Phantom also rushed into her body. An incomparably mournful cry resounded. Suddenly, Jojo's body floated in the air. His body flickered with an incomparably glaring light. The light grew brighter and brighter. The light continuously condensed, and a pair of rainbow-colored wings appeared on her back, flickering with an auspicious light. Wow! Another hiss sounded, and the light around her body became even more intense. Phoenix Nirvanic Rebirth. Light is fire. Phoenix Nirvana Rebirth. Is fusing with a phoenix blood lineage like this. Everyone was incomparably shocked. To fuse with a blood lineage, even if it was a fused holy vein, such a situation would not occur, nor would there be any kind of auspicious light. Who exactly was Jojo? How could he allow the phoenix blood lineage to recognize him as its master, and with such respect? How could he be reborn from the phoenix? There were too many things on her that no one could understand. No one present could explain it. In Long Fei's eyes, Jojo was an angel. At this moment, she was flapping her wings, and the messy feathers on her body fell down, turning into starlight that slowly flew up, turning into stars in the dark sky. All of this was too bizarre. Rumble! The sky and the earth resonated, and a loud sound echoed down from the 9 heavens. It was as if the sound wanted to resonate and resonate throughout the entire 9 nether domain. It was extremely touching. Accompanied by this loud noise, Jojo was reborn. She was wearing a white feather-like dress with a diamond-shaped, crystal-like object embedded between her eyebrows. Her entire body was emitting immortal spirit energy. At this moment, she was a real fairy. Everything in the world felt inferior in front of her, because she was a phoenix fairy above the 9th heaven. And at this moment, Jojo took a step forward, blocking in front of Long Fei. Seeing the incoming swords from Nangong Yen and Nangong Yen, he frowned slightly. Buzz buzz. Buzz buzz. A powerful energy shot out from her body. This energy was visible to the naked eye, and it directly bound the 2 long swords tightly. No more. Moreover, both Dongfang Jian and Nangong Yan's faces were incomparably pale, as they could not withstand the pressure from Jojo's body. Bam! Jojo took a step forward, stood in front of Nangong Yen, moved his 2 fingers, and directly broke the long sword in half. Then, she raised her right hand and slapped it. Pa! He slapped Nangong Yan's face. Jojo said angrily, "Young master doesn't like you." Pa! The Grand Preceptor doesn't like you. Pa! Big Sister Luo, she doesn't like you. Pa! Elder sister Z, Yen doesn't like you. Pa. Elder sister Tion doesn't like you. Pa. Big sister Shadow doesn't like you. Bang. Equals semi / floating life plus. Sister Bao doesn't like you. Pa. Jojo doesn't like you either. Humph, Jojo said, every single slap. Nangong, Yen simply did not have the strength to retaliate, and still ended up being slapped down by Jojo. His face was red and swollen, purple mixed in with his bun. Chapter 88_8419/2356512. Too cool. Too cool. He was simply too cool. Everyone looked at Jojo with stupefied expressions, and they even forgot to breathe. Long Fei also had a face full of shock. He had always thought that he was the face-smacking expert, but compared to Jojo, he was too weak. After slapping his palm, Jojo said angrily, "If you dare bully young master again, I will beat you again." Humph. Finished. As if a little girl who had done something wrong, she slowly walked to Long Fei's side and said in a low voice, "Young master, I'm sorry I shouldn't have hit your fiancé. It's my fault, but I really couldn't help it. He was going to die." That explosive fire just now was now as gentle as water. It was completely different. The key point was that her expression towards Long Fei simply made others so jealous that they wanted to vomit blood. Even Lu Luoshi, and the others were just as jealous. Long Fei's finger lightly scratched the bridge of Jojo's nose and muttered, "Silly girl, what are you saying? However, you were wrong just now. It was too dangerous, and you had to be punished." "Ah. Oh." Jojo lowered his head even further as he muttered in a low voice, "Then why didn't you hit my little fart?" After he finished speaking, he placed his little fart in front of Long Fei. That perky little fart. Countless images appeared in his mind. Uft. Bullsh *T. A man spat out a mouthful of blood. Several men were bleeding from their noses. Do you want him to live? Not only are there so many women around us, each of them is more powerful and savage than the other. *CK. Lousy doesn't want to live anymore. I don't want to live anymore. Compared to Long Fei, I'm not even as alive as a dog. I want to go home. That's too much of a blow. The hearts of countless men shattered. Indeed, compared to Long Fei, they were like the clouds in the sky above the clouds. With Jojo's sudden change just now, they didn't even have the qualifications to compete. It was too humiliating. Long Fei laughed blandly. "If I don't spank your head today, I'll punish you to kiss me." Ha! Jojo's face immediately flushed red. She went up to Long Fei's face and kissed it, her cheeks turning as red as an apple's. Beautiful, moving, and incomparably enticing. It was too beautiful. Long Fei's heart rate increased. The beauty was suffocating. This action made everyone even more crazy. He really doesn't want to live anymore. I can't take it anymore. I don't want to live anymore. Long Fei is so handsome, so gentle. I really want him to smack my ass. This show of love and kindness was simply a strike to the point of 1,000,000 damage. It was too sharp. Xiao Tian stood up and looked at Long Fei. "Lend Jojo to me for a moment." Before she finished speaking, she gave Jojo a fierce kiss on his face and said excitedly, "Jojo, you're too handsome. So handsome that it's crappy. Ha ha ha." I had wanted to tear apart that bitch Nangong Yan's mouth for a long time. Those dozen of slaps from you were too cool. From now on you are my idol. Ha ha ha. Every time she saw Nangong Yan, she felt displeased. She couldn't help but tear her mouth apart every single time. But with her status and strength, she knew that it was impossible for her to succeed. Now, Jojo had done something that she didn't dare to do, and she was even so overbearing and arrogant. Lu Luoshi and Yi Zian were the same. It was just that. They were a little more reserved and did not express as if they were as excited as Xiao Tian. However, their hearts were the same, incomparably excited. It was also at this moment Nangong Yen regained his senses, his face red, swollen purple, his head in a mess, as though he was a crazy woman, his eyes burning with anger, and he roared hysterically, "I want to kill you! I want to kill you!" Nangong was suddenly shook and shouted, "Nangong Yen, have you caused enough trouble?" His expression immediately changed. He had never thought that Long Fei would actually have a phoenix blood lineage. What was even more unimaginable was that Jojo could actually make the phoenix itself recognize him as its master. What was her identity? Was it really picked up from the outside by Long Sanfeng? Jojo was too mysterious. She was probably the only person in the entire continent that could make the phoenix automatically recognize him as its master. And then again, who was at the peak of the war chief, did not even have the slightest chance to retaliate. The slap on Nangong Yan's face did not even have a chance to react, as it was completely blocked. Very, very strong. In less than a minute, Jojo was no longer a servant. Moreover, it was the Phoenix Fairy, a supreme existence. This way, the Long family's power would be greatly increased. He couldn't afford to offend him. At the very least, they couldn't offend them now. At the very least, they would have to wait until Nangong Lei had defeated the Long family. Nangong was shook, and the pressure in his voice immediately stunned Nangong Yen. Nangong Yen was greatly humiliated. When had he ever been in such a sorry state? Having been fiercely slapped in the face of so many people, and to say that it was a servant whom she had always looked down upon, yet now, in just a short moment, she had become a fairy from a phoenix. Just based on her identity alone, she was thrown 100,000 miles away. Nangong walked to Jojo's side with respect and said, "Miss Jojo, we will bestow you the title of Phoenix Princess and allow you free passage within the Imperial Palace. From now on, we will treat the Imperial Palace as your home." Jojo glanced at Long Fei. Long Fei nodded his head and then bowed slightly and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty." Nangong glanced at Long Fei from the corner of his eyes and felt a chill in his heart. The reason why Jojo accepted the bounty was entirely because Long Fei nodded her head. Otherwise, she would definitely not have agreed to it. At this moment, Long Fei walked to Nangong Yan's side and asked, "Princess Nangong, may I ask if Jojo is qualified?" Nangong Yan's face twitched. His eyes were filled with blood. He almost wanted to pounce on Long Fei and eat him. Xiao Tian also came forward and said, "Do you have the qualifications now?" Yi Zian also followed and said, "Do you have the qualifications now?" Lu Luoshi then struck out with his fist. "Your Majesty, this person's head is in a mess, his mind is muddled. What if he injures someone in the banquet of Forbidden Peak? I propose to disqualify her." Right. Disqualify her. Xiao Tian immediately followed. "We must disqualify this madman. What if the one who bites doesn't have a bite? Even if it doesn't bite the person, bite the dog, cat, or whatever else is bad." Yi Zian also said, equals semi/floating life plus. Nangong Yen was spitting fire. It was spewing fire nonstop, and smoke was rising from the top of his head. Jojo muttered, "I don't like her." Nangong's brows slightly tightened as he faintly smiled and said, "Since that's the case, then I—" The previous chapter was Chapter 7, and this chapter was Chapter 8. 8_8419/2356513. It was also at this time, Dongfang Jian took a step forward and said, "Your Majesty, little sister Yen has been disgraced. I will bring her down to change her clothes. You two can enter the Great Hall." Dongfang Jian's identity was different. Nangong did not dare to easily offend him. Moreover, he never thought of letting Nangong Yen leave the banquet of Forbidden Peak. This banquet was specially designed for Long Fei. Without Nangong Yen, this scene would not be easy to sing. Moreover, there were still no movements outside the city, so Nangong Lei should have not attacked the Long family. At this time, he had to let Nangong Yen hold him back so that he could not return, and the Long family would lose an arm. Nangong Hua immediately said, "All right, then I'll listen to you." Finished. Nangong Hua smiled slightly and said, "The time has come. Everyone, enter the Great Hall." Dongfang Jian supported Nangong Yen and growled, "If you want to take revenge, if you want to stomp Long Fei under your feet, then you have to listen to me. It's useless to get angry like this. We want to stomp him to death on the stage. We want to disgrace him. Understand?" Dongfang Jian supported the deranged Nangong Yen into the side hall. Dongfang Jian looked at the back of Long Fei as he walked into the great hall and said with a low voice, "Long Fei, this is only just the beginning. Just you wait." Fireglass City, the Nangong Imperial Manor, was brightly lit. Nangong Jun's 8 great generals stood in the courtyard and looked at Nangong Lei heavily. Nangong Lei's eyes were ice cold as she said in a deep voice, "Banquet of Forbidden Peak has started, and the time has come. We have begun to act, and this time we will definitely uproot the Long family." "Ha!" The 8 people shouted in unison. Next, Nangong Lei looked at the black-robed old man and said faintly, "Master, if I succeed today, and I become the emperor in the future, I will grant you the title of imperial teacher." The old man in black smiled. "Don't worry, I will lend you a hand." Nangong Lei said, "Thank you, master." "Release the signal." A sky cannon flew into the air. It was also at this time the corner of Zhuge Tianlong's mouth turned into a cold smile, and he said, "The emperor's palace has already begun their operations." "Father, Zhuge Yuan's eyebrows tightened as he said solemnly, "Now is the time when the Long family is at their weakest in the past few thousand years. We must kill him in one strike and make sure that he will never be able to rise again. Tonight, cooperate fully with Nangong Lei. We must take down the Long family. However, our Zhuge army must conserve our strength. Nangong Jun will definitely suffer a huge loss this time. When that happens, it will be time for us to fight with the Li family for the position under the heavens." Zhuge Tianlong immediately said, "Your child has already properly arranged everything. Father, you can rest assured." Zhuge Yuan said, "Yes. Lunatic Long, I'm coming. Today, I will smash you to the ground." Zhuge Tianlong ordered, "Release the signal cannons." Whoosh! Boom! The divine Zhuge family also fired a signal cannon. Li martial arts sect, Li Chongtian, started laughing excitedly. "They're here, Nangong Imperial Manor, Zhuge Tianlong, and the others are starting to make their move. Our chance has come. Dad, I've already prepared all the Li family troops. Within 3 days, 80,000 Li family soldiers will enter the Fireglass City under the banner of protecting the Imperial City. When that happens," Li Chongtian laughed sinisterly. Li Tianyang was satisfied. "You did well. This is the best chance for our Li family to hibernate for so many years. With the destruction of the Long family, the Nangong Imperial clan would not be able to survive. When that time comes, our Li family will be in the world." Li Chongtian immediately followed. "Signal." 3 pillars all had their own reasons. However, tonight, their goal was the same: to completely cooperate with Nangong Lei and pull out the nail that had been stuck in the Fireglass City for 10,000 years. With the destruction of the Long family, the Nangong Imperial clan was completely ruined. At that time, no matter what, tonight, The goal was to make the Long family disappear from this world. Long family. Long Zhanhai quickly walked to Long Sanfeng's courtyard and said, "Father, they have already begun to move." Long Sanfeng looked in the direction of the imperial palace and muttered, "I wonder if Xiao Fei will be in danger. I have a feeling that something big will happen tonight." Long Fei was the person he was most worried about. Just now, waves of golden light burst out from the direction of the palace. Just what was it? He didn't know. However, he was even more worried. Nangong, who was not as simple as he thought he was. Furthermore, compared to the three pillars, the Nangong imperial clan was extremely strong. Even the combined three pillars wasn't a match for him, especially Nangong Wudi. No one knew what his cultivation level was. This was his greatest worry. Long Zhanhai said, "Father, you can rest assured. There will be heavenly help for Long Fei, and there are so many of us in the palace. He will definitely protect Xiao Fei well." Long Sanfeng clenched his fists tightly and said, "Things are already like this, whether we live or die. It all depends on tonight's battle. Zhanhai, tonight, we must fight to the death. We must support Xiao Fei as soon as possible. Compared to here, the palace is even more dangerous." Long Sanfeng was very clear of this point. Long Zhanhai immediately replied, "Understood." In the backyard at the back mountain, the leopard girl looked up into the night sky and muttered, "Big brother Long Fei, we're about to begin. How are you doing over there?" Xiao Bai said, "Rest assured, Master will definitely be fine. Furthermore, the ice and fire are still by his side." The silhouette also walked out from the darkness and said, "He will definitely be fine." Many people were concerned about Long Fei. The Long family's army was also worried. In Nangong Imperial City, a young eunuch hurriedly walked in from outside the Zijin Hall and whispered something into Nangonghua's ear. Nangonghua's face was expressionless as he replied lightly, "Got it." He thought excitedly in his heart, "It's about to begin." Ha ha! No matter what, the fight between the Long family and the three pillars is a benefit of my Nangong imperial family. Today, as long as we can obtain the upper half of the dragon salure on Long Fei's body, I will be able to grasp the secret of the dragon salure. If that's the case, Nangong was so excited that he could not help but look at Xiang Longfei. Longfei truly ate meat big and drank from big bowls. He didn't pay any attention to the astonished gazes around him. "Humph!" Nangong coldly snorted in his heart. Longfei after tonight, there will no longer be a Long family in this world." "Young master, slow down. Long Fei, you reincarnated hungry ghost. Can't you eat slower?" The four girls looked at Long Fei, who was unceasingly feeding Long Fei. Lu Luoshi and the other two were completely confused as they looked at Long Fei. Long Fei laughed. "This is too delicious. This is royal food. Of course I have to eat more." Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating Life strongest upgrade system Zhuge Jianxiang laughed disdainfully. "Earth leopard." Li Yi also laughed. "Even beggars on the street can't compare to this." At this moment, Long Fei suddenly stood up and said, "Your Majesty the Emperor, we've finished eating. Can we begin now?" Chapter 98_8419/2356514. It was a bit sudden. Everyone looked at Xiang Longfei. Nangonghu was startled for a moment, then asked, "Start what?" Longfei said, "Let's spar." Isn't the banquet a forbidden peak? Only a martial arts competition among the young generation of the Fire Glass dynasty? Don't waste time. Hurry up and start. I still dare to go home. Long Fei wiped the grease off his mouth with his sleeve and continued, "Don't tell me you guys didn't come here to compete in martial arts. It's all because of that Heaven Sect medallion. Don't tell me you're not here. The banquet of Forbidden Peak's process was to eat and communicate. They boasted about each other. Finally, the Emperor suggested a competition. Whoever gets first place will be rewarded." Long Fei completely ignored the topic of communication. He was not in the mood to listen to others bragging. He was a brute who liked simple and crude games. In any case, he would have to use his fists to resolve this matter in the end. Nangonghua smiled slightly and thought to himself, Long Fei should have also sensed that Three Pillars was attacking the Long family. He wants to escape as soon as possible and return as soon as possible. However, since you came here tonight, how could I let you go back alive? Nangonghua said, Dongfang Jian and Nangong Yen have not come. Let's wait for them. Moreover, I have something to announce, so we can announce it after everyone arrives. Long Fei sat down again and asked, Are there any holy tea? Nangonghua looked at Eunuch Lu and said, Bring Long Qing a pot of holy tea. Eunuch Lu immediately replied and pushed him out. A few minutes later, he personally brought a pot of holy tea to Long Fei and poured some tea for him before whispering, Three Pillars has already made his move. Commander Yuan is ready. After which, he quietly retreated to the side. Long Fei didn't have any fluctuation and thought in his heart, Three Pillars, hee. Tonight, you all can wait to die. He wasn't in a hurry because he wanted to return to the Long family, but he wanted to finish the mission early because that way he would be able to obtain the second clue of the Dragon Salyer. Tonight, he had to find the remaining half of the Dragon Salyer. The time was almost up, and if he did not complete this mission soon, the time limit would expire. Dragon Salyer, where are you? Long Fei muttered in his heart. He was now using it to kill chickens and give them to Jojo. If he wanted to obtain the striking attribute, he would have to cut 10 people consecutively in order to do so in a row. Suddenly, Princess Nangong has arrived. Young Master Dongfang is here. As the two voices fell, the corners of Long Fei's mouth drew back. He looked at Dongfang Jian and immediately laughed. Brother Green Hat! Dongfang Jian's brows tightened as he let out a cold snort. Nangong Yen changed into a new set of clothes. There was no anger on his face, but an ice-cold expression. Out of the corner of his eyes, he glanced at Long Fei with contempt and disdain. Walking to the center of the hall, he said directly, Your Majesty, I agree with Long Fei's suggestion. Everyone is here for the Heaven Sect's medallion. Why not be direct? Long Fei laughed. My future wife, your words are good. That's right. As a husband singing with his wife, it would be great if you could continue like this. Nangong Yen did not look at Long Fei and continued to speak. However, Banquet of Forbidden Peak is the most magnificent exchange of geniuses. Not just some cats and dogs have the qualifications to participate. F***CK. Talking about qualifications here again. Long Fei burst out in vulgarity and spoke in disdain. You took those dozens of slaps just now for nothing? The other side of his face is itchy. Jojo immediately walked over and said, Young master, just say it. Nangong Yan's face twitched. She would never forget the dozen or so slaps she received in her entire life, and said, Your Majesty, I suggest that only geniuses with War Chief realm can participate. As for those who have not reached the War Chief realm, it would be better not to participate. The difference in strength is too big. Dying on the stage will not be good. And then Dongfang Jian immediately took a step forward and said, Yenner is right, although it's only a matter of time. The difference in realm is too big, and it's very easy to not be affected. Zhuge Jianxiang walked out and said, I agree with this suggestion as it is an exchange between geniuses. There is no need for those unqualified wastes to participate, right? Li walked out and said, "I agree with both hands." Following that, a few other men stood up and said, "We also agree." 2/3 of the people in the banquet hall stood up, while the other third were people like Long Fei, who had not reached the war chief realm yet. The other third of the crowd also stood up and said, "I came here to exchange pointers. As for the martial arts competition, I give up automatically. Your Majesty, please agree. What will happen tonight?" They all knew it in their hearts. Outside the palace, the Long family had turned into a battlefield. Before they came here, they had been reminded by their fathers to stand by Nangong, Yen, Zhuge Jinxiang, and Li Yi's side at all times. Never stand by Long Fei's side. It's important to stand in line. If he could stand in a good team for a few more years, then his family would prosper. If he stood in the wrong team, that would be a disaster. At this moment, the fat man at the end of the seat stood up, threw away the chicken leg in his hand, and said, "I don't agree. The banquet of Forbidden Peak created by our ancestors is about communication and not setting the threshold. They said that this banquet of Forbidden Peak should be promoted to let all the young talents participate." Nangong Yen turned his head to look at him and coldly said, "Wang Jinglian, you're just a lowly son of the second rank, yet you don't even have the qualifications to speak." Fatty Wang wiped off the grease on his mouth, not caring at all about what Nangong Yen said, and said, "Your Majesty, my cultivation is also at the second level of war chief, but I still do not agree with Princess Nangong's suggestion. And their methods are against the young Marquis Long. If it's against you, then go ahead and do it. This way of scheming is not something that I, Fatty Wang, am ashamed to do." And then Fatty Wang walked to Long Fei's side and said respectfully, "Young Marquis Long, I'm standing on your side. I can see that they are unhappy, but if I am unhappy, it means that I am unhappy. I, Fatty Wang, am openly saying that I am unhappy." At this moment, Long Fei really admired this Fatty Wang a little. Nangong Yen sneered and said, "Today, your words will not be long before you regret it, and you will pay the price for it. Princess Nangong, don't scare me too much. I, Fatty Wang, am not scared." Wang Jing said, "Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life strongest upgrade system." Long Fei walked out, looked at Nangong Hua, and said, "Your Majesty, just as they had said, only the war chief realm has the qualification to participate." Nangong Hua's brows tightened and said, "Then you—" He was really worried that Long Fei would leave the stage just like that, which would really ruin his plans. Long Fei looked at Nangong Hua's expression and said slightly, "Relax, I won't leave. It's just a war chief realm. Don't worry, I'll have it soon." Chapter 10. Securing the Foundations. Send over 8_8419/2356515. This time, he didn't understand. This time, he didn't understand. The war chief realm will be here soon? Could it be that Long Fei could break through in the next few minutes? He was currently at the 9th stage of the war spirit, so breaking through wouldn't be an ordinary feat. If he wanted to break through this kind of large realm, he would have to continuously break through it, and he was also a member of the Long family. "Humph," Nangong Yen sneered. "Who doesn't know that you are trash with 0 dragon blood activation? What will you obtain once you break through? If you don't have the qualifications, you don't have the qualifications, as long as you admit to it. However, if you beg me on your knees, maybe we'll agree to let you join us." Nangong Yen was very pleased with himself. The sense of superiority was back on his face. Long Fei was really unhappy with her. Jojo was about to rush forward. "Nangong Yen, young master gave you face, right?" They were pulled down by Long Fei and said, "Jojo, don't be angry. Some people just like to show off their sense of superiority. If she likes to show off, just let her show off when there's time for her to kneel on the ground." Nangong Yan's eyes turned sinister as he shouted, "Long Fei, You do not have the qualifications to get out of Violet Gold Temple. Long Fei did not speak. The idea sunk, and then connected to Xiaobai's idea, saying, Kill all of these people. Kill. Kill. Xiaobai suddenly received Long Fei's orders, and they became even more ferocious, continuing to kill. From the beginning, ever since the battle had begun, the system beep S in Long Fei's mind had never stopped. Xiaobai was his war pet. Originally, Long Fei was close to leveling up and breaking through the war chief realm. Xiaobai went on a rampage to kill. At this moment, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, War Chief level, 1. As soon as the system announcement rang out, a burst of rumbling sounds came out from Long Fei's body as the aura on his body abruptly changed. Long Fei smiled. All right, let's begin. A simple sentence. The entire audience was shocked by him. That simple? Breakthrough just like that. What was going on? Nangong, Yen laughed and said, You said that you will break through just like that? I even said that I was a War Emperor realm, TSK. Your negative activation to Dragon Blood should never be able to break through the War Chief realm. At this moment, Nangonghua frowned and said slowly, He did indeed break through. He is already a War Chief realm. Nangong Yan's expression changed and became a little ugly. He looked at Nangonghua and asked, Your Majesty, it is impossible for him to break through the War Chief realm. Dongfang Jian also said slightly, Little Sister Yen, the aura of the War Chief did indeed go to his body, and he did make a breakthrough. Nangong Yen looked at Long Fei in the blink of an eye, his eyes burning with rage. Long Fei laughed and asked, Some people just like to be despicable. If you don't screw her mother, she won't know that you're her father. You want the qualifications? Are you qualified now? F***CK. Displeased, Long Fei shouted a vulgarity and turned to Nangong Hua. Your Majesty, let's begin. While they were talking, Long Fei immediately summoned his dragon Salyer and carried it on his shoulder. He grinned. My blade is unable to endure the thirst. The look in Nangong was eyes tensed up. Dragon Salyer, the upper half of the dragon Salyer, has appeared. As long as you fuse them together, you will be able to obtain the Dragon Salyer's secret. If you really find the dragon race and control them, then my Fire Glass dynasty will be able to rule the entire world. He was laughing maniacally. Right now, he was incomparably excited. At the same time, in the Dragon Veins secret room, beneath the heaven altar, Nangong Wudi's eyes opened. Looking at the half of the dragon Salyer that was continuously trembling, he became excited. How many years has it been? It's finally here. Everyone in the entire Violet Gold Temple was shocked. Supreme artifact. The aura that Long Fei released from his shoulder was incomparably overbearing enough to look down on everything. Being crushed by the savage aura emitted from its body made him feel extremely uncomfortable. Give them a big shot. Arrogant? You want qualifications? Get on the stage and slowly talk about qualifications with lousy. It was also at this time, Nangong said, Since everyone wants to start earlier, we can start now. We have already built a stage outside the main hall, but we have a small announcement in advance. The competition will end soon. Nangong looked at Xiao Chongfeng and asked, Is there anything Elder Xiao needs to add? Husband Xiao stroked his beard and said, When it comes to martial arts competition, there will always be a good loss and a bad one. So, I suggest that His Majesty come out with this duel this time to see the true strength of these geniuses and to not have any scruples. Of course, I will control the entire audience. Your Majesty, what do you think? Nangong Hua intentionally pondered for a moment, then said, What do you guys think? Nangong Yen was the first to say, I agree. Some trash should not be living in this world and wasting food. Long Fei laughed. You are ruthless. However, I agree. He was really worried that he wouldn't be able to find a place to raise his striking energy value. Killing these people would be enough to raise his energy values by 100. Nangonghua said, Since everyone agrees, then let's do as Clan Elder Shao says. Clan Elder Shao, you must control the situation. Well, these people are all geniuses that my Fire Glass dynasty meets once in 100 years. Any loss to them is a loss to my clan. Shao Changfeng replied, Your Majesty, don't worry. Others may not care, but this Long Fei, he. Nangonghua immediately laughed and said, In order to cheer things up, my Nangong family has also sent a representative to participate. Aoer, come out. Yes, royal father. A youth walked out from behind the palace. Nagong Ao, the 16th son of Nangong Hua. It had never appeared in the public before, and even the Prince Nangong Shao couldn't really remember his younger brother anymore. Nagong Ao walked out. His entire body was clad in black armor. On it were many different types of black runes, and his body was brimming with an extremely strong and explosive force. At this moment, Long Fei's heart sank. Demon Dweller. The faces of the Lu Luoshi sisters also shook as they stared at Nagong Ao. Shao Tian immediately wanted to say something, but was pulled back by Lu Luoshi and whispered to him, He's not simple. You have to be careful tonight. Demonic cultivator. Nagong Ao. His appearance shocked everyone, but other than the people from the Heaven Sect and Long Fei, no one knew that he was a demonic cultivator. Equals semi/floating life plus. There was a demonic cultivator, and it was a prince. That meant not only was Fire Glass Dynasty closely related to the Chao Tian sect, he was also closely connected to a certain devil sect. In other words, he was not the only demonic cultivator tonight. Long Fei's heart sank and thought, Seems like Nangong has made sufficient preparations. Chapter 11, 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 Chapter 2, 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 Chapter 8 _ 8419/2356516. Nangonghu was an old cunning fox. Nangonghu was an old cunning fox. He did not seem to be involved in the conflict within the four pillars, but behind him, he was in control of everything. He had always kept the Nangong imperial clan out of the picture. He was waiting for a chance to reap the harvest. However, no matter what happened outside the city tonight, he did not want to care about it, because tonight his goal was Long Fei, the dragon sallier on his shoulder. Aoer, let's greet everyone. Nangong was slightly said. Nagong Ao looked down upon everyone as he walked to the great hall and coldly laughed. What do you have to greet a group of people who are on the verge of death? Before he could finish speaking, his figure had already left the great hall. In just the blink of an eye, his speed was too fast. What shocking speed! 16th Prince. Didn't they say that he disappeared on the day he was born? So he was hiding to cultivate. The aura coming from his body is so strong. What level has his cultivation base reached? Everyone's faces changed drastically. They were all upset by Nagong Ao's aura, and some of them were unhappy as well. Nagong Ao was too arrogant. Right when they were talking, Nagong Ao moved slightly, and under the night sky, layers of demons appeared, landing on the stage. He raised his eyes slightly and asked coldly, "Who wants to die first?" "He's too arrogant." "I, Luo Yi, am here to seek advice." A white-clothed genius moved his sword, his footsteps trembling as he quickly rushed out of the hall and towards Nagong Ao. "Quick sword hand, Luo Yi, so fast." "Humph." Nagong Ao sneered. The moment Luo Yi came down, his body slightly moved, and he kicked out. Bam! Luo Yi's body flew to another place. Inside the wall of the trap, he coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his body twitched a few times. He lost all signs of life. He was dead. Instant kill. One kick kill. Everyone rushed out of the hall and looked at Luo Yi on the wall. A few guards rushed up to check and said, "Reporting to your majesty, Luo Yi is dead. Dead." Everyone's faces darkened. Nangong Huo was ecstatic in his heart, but he showed a look of reproach on his face and said, "Ao-er, stop right there. Don't kill in vain." Damn! Long Fei was shocked. What a strong power. No way. These people are all my experience. True breath, energy values. If he were to kill all of them by himself, what would I do? Long Fei's heart sank. This meant that Nagong Ao had to challenge everyone. In that case, even if Long Fei killed him, he wouldn't be able to obtain 100 energy values. Absolutely not. Moreover, tonight, he was the main character. However, without waiting for Long Fei to speak, Nangong Yen took a step ahead and said, "Emperor Uncle, his cultivation is so high, we are not his match at all. How about we directly let him enter the finals? That way we can test each other's strength." Although holy artifacts were important, if one did not have a stage of cultivation, no matter how strong the holy artifact was, it could not be unleashed. A stage was the foundation of everything. He did not even grasp the power of the war chief, and had to challenge these people who were level 2 and 3 of the war chief. Just because Long Fei had killed Nangong Lai before, Long Zhanwu, however, none of this was his own strength. "Humph," Nangong was said. "Long Fei, do you want to reconsider? And the competition today cannot allow the summoning of war pet out for battle. This had to be restricted by Long Fei. That's a dragon. It's definitely not simple." Long Fei laughed. "Thank you, your majesty, for your kind intentions. I have thought about it clearly. Please come." He sneered in his heart and thought, "Old fox, I'm afraid you want to see this." Jojo said anxiously, "Young master, let me help you." She did not care about the rules of the stage or the banquet of Forbidden Peak. She just wanted to protect Long Fei and prevent him from getting hurt at all. Long Fei immediately said to Luluashi, "Hold Jojo. Floating life. Table of contents. No windows? A++, Jojo. I'm fine." Xiao Tian also anxiously stomped his feet. What does he want to do? Does he think this is the Long family? Yi Zian also had a face full of worry. Nangong Yen sneered and said, "You like to show off, don't you? Then I'll let you have enough today." Chapter 12. Keep adding updates to your subscription support. Thank you. 8_8419/2356517. As soon as he finished, Nangong Yen immediately shouted, "Yi Ming, go." "Yes, sir." Yi Ming walked out, stared at Long Fei, who was on stage, and sneered, and said, "Long Fei, today I will let you experience the Yi family's sword techniques." Boom! On the stairs, Yi Ming's body exploded. War Chief's chi was released. forming waves of pressure that crushed Xiang Longfei. A powerful aura surged forth, and Yiming also moved his body. His long sword transformed into dozens of sword images, sealing off the 360 degrees in the corner of Longfei's body. There was no place to hide. Yi family's absolute sword art. Once the sword strikes, the entire body will be sealed. Even if the person doesn't die, he will at least be injured. Yi Ming has cultivated this sword technique to the 8th stage. Long Fei has nowhere to hide. Long Fei is unable to withstand the suppression of this cultivation realm, and adding this absolute seal sword technique, it would be even more so. Shua. Long Fei die. Yi Ming attacked with his sword. Long Fei slightly lifted the dragon salyer, lowered his footsteps, and moved raging blade form. Break. Shua. The dragon salyer slashed down. Bam. All of the sword flowers sealing his entire body were all forced back by the sleigh, and the sword aura from the dragon salyer was even able to force Yi Ming to retreat. While he was sick, he had to take his life. Long Fei moved like lightning. With a few popping sounds, he rushed to Yi Ming's side and moved his left fist, mountain hit fist. It was heading straight for his throat. Boom. Crack. With his throat broken, Yi Ming staggered a few steps back and fell off the stage. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Yi Ming for obtaining 320 experience points, 200 true breath, and 100 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining absolute sword art. Do you wish to learn it? No, exchange points. This kind of low-level sword technique had no interest at all. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for exchanging for 100 points. F*CK. It really is a trash sword technique, only 100 points. Long Fei disdained in his heart. The moment he saw Nagong Ao, he decided to speed up his steps to raise his points. Ding. Gathering spirit bead, absorbing sword chi +1, the spiritual gathering pearl began to revolve. Long Fei glanced at it for a bit, and faintly said, I wonder when it will be filled up, and how I can refine the sword spirit. One slash of slay. Although it was not an instant kill, Long Fei's slash and punch were close to instantly kill them. Nangong Yan's forehead turned sinister. His expression was displeased, and his teeth chattered as he said, Both of you, attack together. With a fierce heart, he said, Long Fei, tonight, I will definitely kill you. The two of them moved and flew up onto the stage. 2 sword attacks came at him. Each was fatal and merciless. In the Fire Glass City, some of the noble young masters who were talented cultivated their sword techniques. These two also trained in sword arts. It was just that. Half a minute later, bang, bang, the dragon salyer forced them to retreat, and when the mountain hit fist struck out, it killed them again. Ding, ding, 2 announcements sounded out, and Long Fei stood on stage, grinning. Who else? 30 energy values points. If he killed 7 more people, it would be full. At that time, he would first kill Nangong Hua and see if he could bring out the dragon salyer. If not, then search according to the quest clues. Anyway, Long Fei did not like Nangong Hua. Moreover, this was a command. Once Nangong Hua died, the people of the Long family in the palace would attack. Long Fei also needed time to wait. He did not know the current situation of the Long family. According to the agreement, Meng Yu would defeat the 3 Pillars people and quickly attack the palace. Thus, he needed more time than Nangong Hua and the others. Why did it stop just like that? Come again. Long Fei stood on the stage, arrogantly. Nangong Yen, aren't your people too trashy? Ha ha ha. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. Nangong Yen took a step forward, wanting to rush up, but was pulled back by Dongfang Jian and whispered, Rotary fight, drag him down to death. Everyone's true breath was limited. After 20 consecutive battles, the consumption of true breath would be about the same. At that time, they would be no different from trash. You guys continue forward. Don't stop. Don't give Long Fei a chance to catch his breath. Why? Are you afraid now? Don't forget what you promised me. Don't forget your family. Nangong, Yen said sinisterly. A few more people flew out. 4th slash. 5th slash. 6th slash. Every time he killed a person, it would be like giving Nangong Yen a slap on the face. Nangong Yan's expression became even more unsightly. Nangong was stood silently at the side. He acted as if he did not see anything, and did not let Xiao Changfeng help stop Long Fei from killing him, nor did he ask Nagong Ao to send anyone out, because he was thinking the same as Dongfang Jian. No matter how powerful Long Fei was, even if he used up all his energy, would still be the last one to fight. Therefore, he wasn't worried at all. 1 hour later, stop wasting time. All of you attack together. Long Fei did not want to waste any more time. The Long family's combat power should be more or less over. The Three Pillars army should be almost dead. There was no need to delay any longer. What Long Fei needed to do now was to clear the Long family's obstacles, and find the other half of the Dragon Salyer. Bring it on. Nangong Yen, I will screw you on the stage. Ha ha ha. Long Fei smiled obscenely. He had already gathered all his striking energy value. The time of the massacre had begun. Long Fei, you are too arrogant. Zhuge Jianxiang took a step onto the stage, pointed the sword at the center of Long Fei's brows, and said, Today, I will let you experience the power of Zhuge Jianxiang. Arrogant. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, Why do I feel like I'm not arrogant enough? As soon as he finished, the dragon salyer on his shoulder slashed out. Zhuge Jianxiang was not afraid. His sword blocked it, and in that moment, he suddenly swallowed a pill, and the spirit qi on his body suddenly went berserk. He released the power of a 3rd stage war qi from all over his body and shouted, Die! Bam! Long Fei was pushed back by the qi released by Zhuge Jianxiang and retreated a few steps. Li Yi seized the opportunity and thrusted his sword towards Xiang Long Fei's back. Long Fei's heart sank. The dragon salyer moved and sat on his back. Bam! Fiery light scattered in all directions, and Long Fei was also knocked forward. He had already mastered the second move of the previous move. Is this all you have? He dares to be so arrogant with this kind of ability. A sword pierced Xiang Long Fei's throat. One in front and one behind, they attacked Long Fei. Long Fei's forehead turned sinister. Suddenly he shook, and the blood light from the dragon salyer exploded out. Teleport! Shwa! In an instant, he had already jumped out of their attack range. Skin cracking, tendon breaking, skeleton breaking. He released the dragon salyer techniques. 7 moves. Gale chop. HTTP. / whoosh. Hurricane cut. Shwa. Dragon chop. Chapter 13. Continue to update your support. 8_8419/2356518. Xiao Tian immediately stepped forward and said, Long Fei, hurry up and go save Grandfather Long and the others. Long Fei stood on the stage with a faint smile still on his face and said, I don't know about Zhuge Jianxiang, but I know very well that your father is already waiting for you on the path to the Yellow Springs, because a few minutes ago, a system notification rang out. Zhuge Tianlong was defeated by Xiao Bai. Zhuge Jianxiang laughed coldly and said, Long Fei, do you think I've been swindled growing up? Based on the Long family's survival? Ha ha ha. I'm afraid your grandfather and the others are waiting for you on the road to River Styx. All right, I don't want to waste words with you either. Nangong Yen, you're the last one left. Long Fei didn't want to waste time with him, so she looked at Nangong Yen and said, "Didn't you always want to end the engagement? I have an end to you today. If you can beat me, then there's nothing to worry about. If you can't defeat me, then obediently accompany me for 3 days and 3 nights. I'll definitely cherish you well. Fire Glass City's #1 beauty. Ha ha ha." Nangong Yen was enraged. With a loud shout, his right hand moved and grabbed out a magic weapon, a heaven-ranked sword. This was Dongfang Jian's sword. Sky sword art. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Asterisk, Nangong Yan's figure instantly transformed into an endless sea of killing intent that filled the sky as he stabbed at Xiang Longfei. Lu Luoshi's face changed greatly as he stared at Dongfang Jian, Eastern Senior Fellow Apprentice. You actually taught the heaven-ranked sword technique of the former sect to an outsider. I will definitely report this to the sect master. Dongfang Jian laughed indifferently. Nangong Yen has an inner sect badge. She is an inner sect disciple of the heaven sect. She is not considered an outsider. Xiao Tian shouted. Dongfang Jian, you are truly not an ordinary lowly person. You are truly despicable to the point of wanting to die. The muscles at the corner of Dongfang Jian's eyes twitched, and he said, "You better respect your words." Xiao Tian, if it wasn't for your father, I would definitely have taught you a lesson today. Xiao Tian was never afraid of getting into big trouble, and said, "Come on, teach this miss a lesson. I'll see if you have the ability to." Dongfang Jian stared at him and bellowed, "Do you think I don't dare?" At this moment, swoosh swoosh, the heavenly illusion sword technique had already been cultivated by Nangong Yen to the 5th stage, and it was extremely powerful. The sword chi that filled the sky and the killing intent that filled the sky were all unleashed in an instant, stabbing Xiang Longfei. Huff! Longfei calmed down and closed his eyes. He tried to use his chi to sense the situation. The heavenly illusion sword was very strong. After reaching the 5th level, one would be able to see countless phantoms. It sounded like a system beep. Ding! Congratulations to the player, Long Fei, for comprehending the solitary 9 swords. Do you wish to cultivate it? Skill path, solitary 9 swords grade. Divine grade consumption, 10,000 points per move description. 1 move for 1 sword. Formless slay. A simple description. Long Fei himself was secretly shocked as well. He didn't think that he would actually comprehend the solitary 9 swords in such a short time, and was overjoyed. The moment he opened his eyes, a sinister voice came out, using a blade and sword. A sword struck out. Long Fei then shouted, "Raise the sword." With the pull of the dragon salyer, 1 move, 1 stab. The half of the broken blade was directly aimed at the tip of Nangong Yan's sword. Buzz! 2 streams of sword chi gushed out in all directions. They continued to collide, wreak havoc, and kill each other. The battle between the heavenly illusion sword technique and the solitary 9 swords. Nangong Yan's face turned sinister. Blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth as he screamed in a shrill voice. The 6th move. Sky Fantasia kill. Boom. Her figure suddenly changed as she released the apparition that was originally retracting from her body. This time, it was different from the mirage from before, becoming even more ferocious. Every afterimage was real. The illusions dispersed and surrounded Long Fei. It will never change. The true breath in Long Fei's body started to surge. The value of the true breath was once again reduced by 10,000 points, his heart turning sinister, broken sword style. Kill. The dragon salyer raised her hand. The shocking sword spirit was released from Long Fei's body, and then burst out from the dragon salyer, crazily releasing a sword downwards. Bang, bang, bang. The sky was filled with the unceasing sound of exploding thunder. Nangong Yan's move, Heavenly Illusion Absolute Killing Strike, was completely destroyed, and all of the surrounding illusions disappeared. They were crushed by the sword intent released by Long Fei's body. Uffed. One sword and one slay. Nangong Yan spat out a huge mouthful of blood towards the sky, and was sent flying back, heavily smashing down below the stage. His face was extremely pale, and he stared at Long Fei. Impossible, absolutely impossible. You are not my opponent. As she spoke, crack, crack, crack. The sword in her hand emitted a series of cracking sounds. Clang! A magic weapon treasure sword shattered like thin ice, completely crushed by the shocking sword spirit. Dongfang Jian's eyes were filled with anger. That was the treasured sword his father had given him. Ah, Long Fei, you're too arrogant. His body moved. With a grimace between his eyebrows, he took out a long sword and formed tens of thousands of illusions as he rushed towards Xiang Long Fei. Real and fake. Emptiness. Kill. Long Fei's heart sank again. The dragon salyer's body released the power of the wild mountain devil and divine tiger blood lineage, turning into a blood-colored sword chi. Be careful, young lord. Stop. The sword intent of Long Fei's strike was simply too strong. The hearts of people were trembling, and it was impossible for the furious Dongfang Jin to be a match for this shocking sword spirit when he had lost his reason. All of you scram! Boom! The sword images that were visible to the naked eye shot out one after another from Long Fei's body. After this slash, all of the images flew up into the air. Bang, 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 bang. It kept stabbing out. Xiao Changfeng grabbed onto Dongfang Jian. He turned his body, and all of them blocked the afterimages of the swords, releasing the powerful War Elder Realm cultivation, using all of it for defense. Even so, he couldn't hold on any longer, spitting out blood. 108 strikes. Uff. Xiao Changfeng spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, firmly holding on to Dongfang Jian, and said, Young master, you are not his opponent. You are not his opponent at all before you break through the War Elder Realm. Dongfang Jian did not pity Xiao Changfeng. He helped himself block the sword, so there was no need for him to be concerned about it at all. He stared at Long Fei, his eyes burning with anger. He was unwilling. He was extremely unwilling. Long Fei said arrogantly, Brother Green Hat, come again. You. Dongfang Jian clenched his teeth, feeling extremely unwell. The surroundings were completely silent, terrifyingly quiet. What kind of sword intent was that? What sword technique did Long Fei use just now? Without any moves, it was just like a normal drawing of a sword. It was just like lifting a sword. It was extremely normal, but how could he release shocking sword spirit? It was too shocking. Moreover, even Xiao Changfeng, who was in the War Elder Realm, could not withstand the attack of this sword intent and suffered internal injuries. Everyone was wondering in their hearts just what had happened in the past year. Long Fei became too terrifying. Long Fei grinned and stared at Nangong Yan. Are you convinced? Do you still want to end the engagement? Ah. Without waiting for her to climb up the stage, Long Fei suddenly stepped on her face and shouted, I gave you face, right? Bam! With one kick, Nangong Yan was sent flying. Zhuge Jianxiang roared out, saying, Long Fei, don't be too arrogant. Long Fei turned his gaze towards Zhuge Jianxiang and sneered and said, Arrogant? Why do I feel like I'm not arrogant enough? Suddenly, Long Fei jumped down and rested his blade on Zhuge Jianxiang's shoulder. He gave a cold laugh. I want to be a little more arrogant. Finished. The true breath surged, and the blood light and sword chi from the dragon's salure were released. The aura of the blade was like the aura of death that pervaded Zhuge Jinxiang's surroundings. His body was trembling as he said fiercely, "Long Fei, if you dare to kill me, my father will not let you go. My grandfather will not let you go." Puchi, blade chi rolled out, wrapping around Zhuge Jinxiang's neck. The dragon's salure slightly moved. Crack! Zhuge Jinxiang's head rolled down from his neck. His eyes were still staring straight at Long Fei. He was still enraged, his mouth open wide, but no sound came out. While they were talking, Long Fei stomped his foot down heavily. Bam! Zhuge Jinxiang's head was stepped on until it exploded. He laughed coldly and said, "If I don't kill you, how can I call you arrogant?" Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Zhuge Jinxiang for gaining EXP, True Breath 500 points, Energy Values 100 points. Blood sprayed wildly. His body was split into two. Everyone looked at the corpse on the ground, then at Long Fei. That feeling was too terrifying. Li Yi scrambled out as he shouted, "Your Majesty, save me! Your Majesty, quickly save me! Long Fei, you are a madman. Your Long family has been annihilated. Right now, you're the only one left in the Long family. As long as you don't kill me, I'll definitely make my father spare your life. Don't kill me, don't. Ah." Long Fei moved the center of his brows, the ferocious blade, aura, on the dragon, salure slashing down once again. Bam! Li Yi died. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing, Li Yi for obtaining an experience point, True Breath 500 points, Energy Values 100 points. After killing Li Yi, Long Fei slowly walked back to the stage. Looking at Nangong Hua, he laughed sinisterly. "Your Majesty, it's your son's turn." Chapter 15. Berserk, thank you for your support. Thank you. Brother, please help the sea to promote a bit more. QQ Space, WeChat, Weibo can all be promoted, so that more friends can see this book. 8_8419/2356520. A ball of fire pressed down from Nangong was heart. A ball of fire pressed down from Nangong was heart. Long Fei kept on killing the 28 geniuses. Other than Wang Jing, all of them were killed by Long Fei. Killed him right in his face. Moreover, when he was killing Zhuge Jinxiang and Li Yi, Nangong Hu could feel the killing intent in Long Fei's eyes. Aoer. Nangong Hu frowned, then shouted loudly, "Fight!" "Ha ha!" Nagong Ao, who was on the roof, laughed sinisterly, then flew down to the ground, looked at Long Fei, who was on the stage, and said, "Interesting, very interesting. Your pubes has been shattered, and your dragon blood has been drawn out, but you can ignore all of this and still continue on with your cultivation. Also, your sword skills, techniques, and blade skills are all high quality. I really want to know how you did it." He had been paying attention to Long Fei. Long Fei watched every move. The true breath in his body was surging very strangely. It did not go through the pubes S. Long Fei's heart trembled. He did not reveal any expression, and secretly thought, "Did you see through it?" No one had suspected him in such a long time. Nagong Ao's words greatly shook his heart. He had to say these were Long Fei's deepest secrets, and no matter who it was, they were not allowed to know them. Nagong Ao finally understood. Then, he only had one result. Long Fei laughed, faintly. "I would really like to know how you managed to join the blood refining sect. Or could it be that your Nangong Imperial clan is already a branch of the blood refinement sect?" Nagong Ao frowned. Nangong's expression also changed greatly. Xiao Tian suddenly thought of something that happened and said fiercely, "No wonder the blood refinement sect suddenly disappeared at the auction the last time we went there. We searched the entire city but didn't find anything. So you were hiding in the Imperial Palace." Lu Luoshi's eyes were ice cold as he looked at Nangong Hua and said, "What a great clan of the Nangong Imperial clan." The muscles at the corner of Nangong Hua's eyes twitched, and under his sleeves he clenched his fists as though his tail was being stepped on. His expression was extremely ugly, and he said with a heavy voice, "AO or kill." Humph! Longfei smiled and said, "What? I saw through it? Ha ha ha. Longfei, you are indeed very smart, smarter than I had expected." Nangong Hua laughed madly and said, "However, so what? You should know what the Long family is up to right now, right? Do you think you can escape from here today?" Nangong Hua didn't want to hide anything and started to laugh loudly. Xiao Changfeng's brows sank and he asked, "Your Majesty, the Nangong Imperial clan has really joined the blood refining sect." Nangong Hua looked at Xiao Changfeng with contempt and said, "In the beginning, I was a little afraid of you, but now you are just a cripple. You don't pose even the slightest threat to me." "That's right. Our Nangong Imperial clan has long been a branch of the blood refinement sect. Tonight's goal is Long Fei, but now, since you all know about it, then don't even think about leaving." Nangong Hua shouted. Next, 18 black figures suddenly flew in from outside the violet gold temple. All of them had the symbol of the blood refinement sect on their chests. They were all experts from the blood refinement sect. With the Long family's annihilation outside the city, it was impossible for the Nangong Hua in the palace to not make preparations. This was his preparation. An expert from the blood refinement sect. The violet gold temple was a huge trap, and from the moment Long Fei stepped into the violet gold temple, it was destined that he wouldn't be able to escape tonight. Ha ha! Beauty of the Heaven sect, we meet again. A black-clothed man from the blood refinement sect said. Lu Luoshi frowned, his mind trembling. Yi Zian immediately asked, "Senior sister is him? The one who was in Fire Glass Mountain Range last time is him." "Ha ha ha. You finally remembered me. I've thought about it for half a year now. None of you three will be able to escape tonight." Ha ha ha. The man laughed. All three of them felt their hearts tighten. That night, if not for Long Fei, they would have become playthings of the blood refinement sect and become blood slaves. Xiao Changfeng became furious and shouted, "Nangong Hua, have you thought about the consequences?" Ha ha ha. Consequences. Nangong Hua laughed out wildly and said, "The result is that you all will have to die here tonight. The result is that no one will ever know what happened." But Nangong Hua stared at Long Fei, who was on the stage, and said, "All of this is because of you, Long Fei. As long as you obediently hand over the dragon salyer and kneel down, I will give you a complete corpse." I've never enjoyed the knees of your Long family in all my years as an emperor. Long Fei laughed, but he was not afraid, and said, "You want me to kneel before you, and yet you want me to kneel before you on a dragon salyer, just based on trash like you? Ha ha ha." Nangong Hua laughed out loud and said, "You're too conceited, too arrogant. Do you really think you're invincible?" Humph! Long Fei also laughed. "Am I arrogant? I really don't feel arrogant. However, since you've said it like that, let me show you how arrogant I am today." Suddenly, Long Fei moved. The dragon salyer suddenly fought and directly slashed at Nagong Ao. No matter what, Nagong Ao had to die, because he knew something he shouldn't have known. Nagong Ao laughed coldly. "Is that all you're worth? Today, I will experience what is called sword intent." Buzz! Nagong Ao's body trembled. He summoned out a blood sword. The moment the sword appeared, a young blood spirit wrapped around the blood sword and floated in the air like a small ball of ghost flame. Sword spirit! Long Fei's heart sank, and the spirit-gathering pearl in his body also started to beat. Nagong Ao laughed. Not bad. You still have some experience. Since you know that it's a sword spirit, then you should know its power. The blood spirit was not a sword spirit. However, this could also be considered a sword spirit infant. Sword spirits were formed from this type of spirit. Raising a sword spirit required an extremely strong sword intent. It could be seen how strong Nagong Ao was. Ha ha! Long Fei laughed and said, "It's mine now." Suddenly, the dragon's salure moved. The true breath wreaked havoc. Long Fei closed his eyes. Invisibly, his figure kept on releasing, a figure releasing a sword technique. A figure moved. Nagong Ao sneered, pretending to be mysterious. "Get down." Buzz. A bloody light exploded on his blood sword, and all the power in his body was unleashed. This was how his battles were like. Each time he used his full strength, the Jedi didn't give the other side any chance. A sword was sent out. The sinister blood spirit charged towards the center of Xiang Longfei's brows. Huff. Baidu search. Half afloat. Inhale. Huff. Long Fei's eyes were wide opened, as though he was enraged, and at the same time, the indistinct shadow returned to his place, and the dragon's salure in his hands moved. 10,000 swords returned to sect. Slay. The first chapter. Turn around and shed tears without a trace. Gorgeous. Dazzling. Ha! Presumptuous is called youth, OMG, and a large group of brothers as a reward. Hai Yang thanks all of you for your support. Thank you. 8_8419/2356521. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Violent sword hums constantly rang out. Next. Schwa. A sword flew out, uncontrollably flying out. My sword, my sword. I can't control it. What's the situation? My sword is completely out of control. I can't catch it. I can't catch it at all. All the swords were being controlled by the aura on Long Fei's body, as though there was another gigantic magnet on his body, causing the swords on their bodies to tremble violently. Dongfang Jian's sword could not even support flying out with a whoosh. Xiao Changfeng's sword was the same. Lu Luoxi and the three sisters' swords also flew out. Everyone's swords flew to the top of Xiang Longfei's head, spinning nonstop. The ones that injured Xiao Changfeng were only the illusionary swords, but this time they were all real swords. Dozens of swords began to spin. Long Fei moved his body and stabbed forward. Break for me! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Asterisk, boom, boom, boom. When the 10,000 swords returned to the sect, the gods and ghosts were shocked. Nagong Ao's expression changed greatly. This time, Long Fei's strength had once again exceeded his expectations. Walala! Walla! The blood spirit could not withstand the pressure and cried out as it retreated. Several tens of swords flew down, and at this moment, Long Fei's dragon salure suddenly changed. In the air, he consecutively slashed out 7 moves. Dragon chop! Schwa! Just as the flying swords were constantly flying towards Nagong Ao, Long Fei released his dragon chop. At this moment, the swords and sabers chimed together. The sword danced wildly. It wreaked havoc in the surroundings. Teleport! Long Fei's body moved. The hurricane slash swept Nagong Ao up into the air and released the dragon chop. The blood-colored sword chi and the flaming blade chi fused together. At the same time, the roar of the wild mountain devil, the divine tiger's angry roars overlapped. In midair, Long Fei was like a god of death, a dancing god of death, madly killing everything on his path. 100 slashes. Schwa. 160 slashes. Schwa. 220th slash. Die. Boom. Looking at the last drop of blood on top of Nagong Ao's head, Long Fei roared out and released his last slash. Boom. Countless cracks covered Nagong Ao's body, but not even blood flowed out from the cracks, as though the blood had been cut off and forgotten. Nagong Ao crawled up from the ground, as he furiously roared with his head raised. Long Fei, I want. Pucci. Ah. His entire body was divided into 220 pieces and was separated from his body piece by piece. Save me, save me, save me. The incomparably arrogant Nagong Ao at this moment was not one bit arrogant. Bam! Without any hesitation, Xiao Chongfeng took out an order badge from his bosom and threw it to Long Fei. Long Fei, take care of yourself. Finished. Xiao Chongfeng supported Dongfang Jian and was about to leave. Nangong let out a heavy roar and said, "Did I let you leave?" Xiao Chongfeng frowned and said, "Nangong Hua, you dare?" Long Fei didn't care about their flame war. Instead, he looked at Fatty Wong and said, "Today, you are the only one who stood on my side. You're very lucky because you're on the right side. This token is yours." After Long Fei received the order badge, he directly threw it to Wang Jinglian. When the order badge flew in the air, Long Fei smiled and said, "Fatty Wang, accepting this means that you are a member of my Long family. If Nangong wants to kill you, it's fine even if you don't accept it." Not waiting for him to finish, Wang Jing stepped forward and took the token in his hands. "Young Marquis Long, I'll follow you from now on." Ha ha ha. Fatty Wang still agreed to Long Fei's temper. Seeing him accept the token, Zhang Xian smiled. Then, Long Fei moved, pointed at Nangong Hua, and said, "The next one is you." Chapter 2, 8_8419/2356522. It was also at this time. Ding! A system announcement rang out in Long Fei's mind. Congratulations to the player, Long Fei, for completing the Peak of the Purple Taboo quest. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a bit of experience points, point of true breath, and 1,000 points reward. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the S rating. Yes. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and became excited. Only by completing the S rank would he be able to obtain a special reward, which was also a special reward related to the Dragon Salyer mission. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the clue to the Dragon Salyer's task reward, the Supreme Temple. Tai Temple. Long Fei's heart sank and thought to himself, the other half of the Dragon Salyer is at the Tai Temple. Ha ha ha. Now you don't have to worry about it anymore. Once the mission was completed, the other half of the Dragon Salyer knew about it. Now what was left was to kill, and that was to explode. Long Fei yelled again and said, "Nangong Hua, the next one is you." Huh. Ha ha ha. Nangong Hua laughed out loud and said, "Challenge me? Long Fei, do you really think you're my match? Do you really think you can make it out tonight? Your Long family has already been annihilated. The sounds of battle outside the palace have disappeared. In other words, the Three Pillars family has won, and you are only the last survivor of the Long family. Are you only at the first level of war chief?" Nangong Hu was extremely disdainful. Everything tonight was prepared for Long Fei. There was a Three Pillars outside the palace, and an expert from the blood refinement sect inside the palace. From the very beginning, Nan Gonghu wanted to cut the grass at its roots. While he was speaking, a guard anxiously ran in and whispered into Nan Gonghua's ear. Nan Gonghua's face changed. He stared at Long Fei and bellowed, "What did you say?" At this moment, Long Fei laughed. "Nan Gonghua, just who was it that was killed?" "Huh." His voice suddenly rose as Long Fei sneered. "You think that a mere 3 pillars would be able to destroy my Long family?" Nan Gonghua's anger roiled. Her voice was trembling as she said solemnly, "Long Fei, so it turns out that you had been prepared for a long time now. The Long family's army was brought into the city by you without anyone noticing. I don't even know anything." At this moment, the Long family's army had already surrounded the palace. The Long family's army was victorious in all aspects. Nan Gongyan's eyes trembled as he said, "Your Majesty, what did you say?" My father, have they lost?" "Ha ha ha." Long Fei laughed wildly and said, "Nan Gongyan, do you still think that our Long family will lose without a doubt? Not only did your father lose, all of your father's Nangong army were already killed from the moment Nangong Lai gave his reward to my grandfather. I swore to make your family pay. The price is death." And then Long Fei looked at Nan Gonghua coldly and laughed. "Nan Gonghua, do you have the qualifications to fight with me now? Long family's army has already taken over the palace. You don't have the qualifications to fight me? Ha ha ha." Long Fei continued to speak. "Nan Gonghua, if you kneel down and kowtow to this daddy now, I will never enjoy the feeling of being kowtowed to someone from the Nangong family." "Ah." Nan Gonghua roared, "Long Fei, you're too arrogant." Long Fei said, "How arrogant? Why do I feel like I'm not wild enough? Ha ha ha." "So what if the Long family army has surrounded the palace? Do you think that someone with military merits from the Long family can come in?" Nan Gonghua said in a deep voice, "Even if the Long family's army invades, you will still die before them. Don't even think about escaping." Nan Gonghua shouted, "Disciples of the blood refinement sect, listen up. Kill them all." Huh. The 18 experts of the blood refinement sect suddenly moved, and one of them transformed into a boundless blood shadow that crushed Xiang Longfei, an expert of the War Elder realm. The pressure was like a mountain crushing down heavily. Long Fei was unable to move, and he hated the feeling of being suppressed by the pressure the most. "Who dares to touch my master?" Roar! A white silhouette flashed past, and Xiaobai opened his bloody mouth to directly swallow the expert from the blood refining sect. Rumble! An incomparably ferocious white wolf standing beside Long Fei roared out, and the might of a divine beast completely exploded outwards. "Who the hell dares to touch my master?" "Ah, who? If you have the guts, then stand up for lousy." "Damn it, too domineering." The experts of the blood refining sect instantly retreated, and were shocked by the aura of a divine beast on Xiaobai's body to the point where they spat out blood. Divine beast! The 3 sisters were the most shocked. Xiaobai is actually a divine beast. Why didn't you notice it before? Only divine beasts could speak before they reached the level of paragons. Nan Gonghu was absolutely furious in his heart. Long Fei had all kinds of good things, including holy artifact-s divine-level techniques, and even the women of Phoenix blood lineage. Besides a huge dragon, there was also a divine beast, White Wolf. He hated it. He gritted his teeth in hatred. Nan Gonghua's fists shook. The clothes on his body instantly burst apart from the force, and he said sinisterly, "On that day, I should have killed you. It's all my fault for being soft-hearted at the moment." Long Fei's gaze turned sinister as he said, "The one who extracted my dragon blood and crushed the pubes was actually you." Ha ha ha. Nan Gonghua laughed crazily. "Back then, I killed you one sword strike at a time. I really shouldn't have kept you here. Right now, he felt incomparable regret. Back then, he wanted the entire Fireglass City to laugh at the Long family for producing such a trash, but he never expected that Long Fei would rise up like a soaring dragon a year later. He regretted it too much. Nangonghua continued. Not only you, all of the past geniuses of your Long family and the untimely death of the Dragon God warriors were all done by our Nangong Imperial clan. And your Dragon Salyer, it was our Nangong Imperial clan that used the killing array to kill him when he was in Fireglass City. It was just that we didn't expect him to use his last breath to cut our Dragon Salyer in half. The Long family must be exterminated. Who would have thought that all of this was done by the Nangong Imperial clan? Who could imagine? Right at this time, Nangong was suddenly roared. Where are the Imperial guards? Ha! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, golden armored warriors rushed out from all directions. They moved their spears and shouted in unison, their voices shaking the heavens. Kill them all. Nangonghua pulled out his sword and pointed it at Xiang Longfei, saying, Kill! At this moment, Longfei simultaneously roared out, Kill! Yuanbin took out his long sword and tore off the armor on his right arm, revealing a red cloth. At this moment, half of the Imperial guards tore off the armor on their right shoulder, revealing the red cloth. Kill! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, why? Why did you kill me? In less than a minute, 300 to 400 Imperial guards were killed by their men. Nangonghua was dumbfounded. Chapter 3, 8_8419/2356523. How could he have imagined that the Imperial guards that were directly under the command of the Nangong Imperial clan would have so many Long family members? How could he have imagined that the Imperial guards that were directly under the command of the Nangong Imperial clan would have so many Long family members? What was going on? For a moment, even he didn't know how to react. Long Fei smiled, slightly. Do you think that the people from the Long family are idiots? Do you think that the people of the Long family are just going to be manipulated by you, Nangonghua, all these years? If the Long family did not consider their loyalty and filial piety, replacing your Nangong Imperial clan would be as simple as squashing an ant to death. It is your Nangong Imperial clan that is heartless to my Long family. Today, your Nangong Imperial clan will pay the price for this. Long Fei killed him with every word he said. At this point, Long Fei was definitely not merciful in the slightest. What Nangonghua had said made him want to kill the Nangong family. He was definitely not going to give him the slightest chance. Good, good, good. Nangonghua laughed sinisterly. Even if I missed you in all my calculations, you have exceeded my expectations. But this world, the strong are respected. It's just a piece of trash whose dragon blood was drawn out and whose pubes was shattered. While they were talking, boom! Nangonghua's body suddenly exploded as his upper body turned scarlet. He took a step forward. Boom! The surrounding people were all forced to retreat. Boom! A deep footprint immediately appeared on the thick marble. Taking 2 steps forward, he fiercely flew forward and with a flick of his fingers locked onto Xiang Longfei's throat and said, Brat, go and die. Long Fei, be careful. Young master, be careful. Young lord. Xiao Bai was enraged. He released the power of a divine beast. His eyes turned sinister. A powerful divine beast rushed out. With just you? He instantly charged forward. Roar. Nangonghua punched out. Xiao Bai blocked it, but in that moment, Nangonghua's figure suddenly disappeared, his surroundings turning into a blood mist. And after that, Xiao Bai's battle experience was too little. He did not understand the insidiousness of the human heart. He suddenly shouted in alarm, "Master, be careful!" Too late. Nangong was suddenly appeared out of thin air. His hand was only a few centimeters away from Long Fei's throat, but he did not say anything. Even with these few centimeters, he could not enter even half a centimeter, because an air shield appeared on Long Fei's body. Invincible defense. The power of the wild mountain devil's sacred art. Long Fei's back was drenched in cold sweat. He had to admit that Nangong's cultivation was extremely high. If not for Long Fei's quick reaction, his throat would have already been broken. Looking at the sinister expression on Nangong's face, Long Fei's right arm sank, right arm's godly strength. Boom! A punch exploded. It struck on Nangong's abdomen. It was also at this moment. The air shield on Long Fei's body disappeared. Nangong was also flung out. This punch took Long Fei 3 whole minutes to brew. All of his power was released. Although the large power King Kong ape's power could not kill him in a second, a scarlet number floated up above Nangong's head. At the same time, the blood on top of Nangong's head also showed up. It was a whole 1,000,000 points. Who? Boss level. Long Fei grinned excitedly. He didn't wait for Nangong to get up from the ground. Whoosh! Both of Long Fei's fists exploded, and like lightning he blasted out. Bang, bang, bang. It was like a violent storm. Every punch was filled with all the power one could muster. Nangong frantically tried to resist, trying his best to resist. However, Long Fei's fists did not cause too much damage. They were all in 3 figures. It was too low. Splitting pulsar. Boom. Both fists smashed onto the ground, causing the ground to crack as a huge force of vibration bounced Nangong off his feet. At this very moment, both of Long Fei's fists moved and blasted out like heavy cannons. Mountain hit fist. Boom. It was a heavy blow. Nangong's body was sent flying in the air. While he was sick, he had to take his life. Long Fei did not miss such an excellent opportunity. Nangong was already stunned. If he was given half a second to regain his senses, Long Fei would not be his match. The difference in realm was too big. The realm was everything. No matter how strong the holy artifact was, no matter how strong the technique was, without a class advantage, these things could not be displayed. Whoosh Wong. Wong. With one step, Long Fei rushed into the sky and opened Whoosh Wong's door. All attributes were doubled. Teleport. Whoosh. With one step, and the instant he flew, Long Fei held the dragon salure in his hand and hacked out 7 times as he shouted at Nangong, who was in midair, "Dragon chop!" Boom! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk below Whoosh Wong. His attributes were doubled. Beneath the dragon salure, the damage of the dragon salure technique increased by a ton, continuously slashing. 107th slash. 123 slashes. 200 slashes. 220th slash. Break. Boom. Nangong's body heavily fell down, smashing onto the ground. A deep crater was formed on the ground, and the entire palace was trembling. Nangong did not die. 1,000,000 HP was simply too much. He got up from the ground and laughed maniacally. Ha ha, ha ha ha. Long Fei, you won't be able to kill me. Trash like you won't be able to kill me. You're too weak. Ha ha ha. Can't we kill him? You only have a measly 100,000 points left, and you still dare to act so arrogantly here? Long Fei sneered in his heart, and his voice gradually grew louder. You're being arrogant in front of me? I'll let you know what happens if you continue to act so arrogantly in front of me. Solitary 9 swords. 10,000 swords returned to sect. Boom. Long Fei was furious. The true breath continued to wreak havoc, and at the same time, the swords of the Imperial Guards all flew towards Long Fei, who was in the air. Long Fei's idea sunk. He rushed towards Nangong Hua, who was in the deep pit, and shouted, "I shall see if you die or not. Kill! Whoosh, 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 asterisk, boom, boom, boom." Each of the flying swords exploded downwards like a bomb, causing scarlet-red damage to continuously float upwards above Nangong Hua's head. Arrogant? Motherf asterisk cur. Continue being arrogant for lousy. Can't kill you. Shout again. Long Fei was furious as well. He swung his dragon salyer and descended from the sky and slashed down with his blade. Nangong Hua was smashed to the ground and knelt down. His bun was scattered everywhere, and his entire body was dripping with blood. Looking at Long Fei, who was in the sky, Nangong Hua's entire body was trembling. You can't kill me. You can't." Finally, Nangong Hua shouted loudly, "Father, save me." Boom. The sky above Violet Gold Temple exploded loudly. The clouds churned, and a huge face appeared within the clouds as he shouted angrily, "Stop! Master Nangong." Nangong Woody's face. "Stop! Who the hell are you? If you tell Lousy to stop, then stop." Long Fei opened his mouth and roared, "SH*T. Stop your sister. Table of contents. Die." Without caring about anything else, the saber slashed down. How could he not give up his experience? Explode for me. Chapter 4. 8_8419/2356524. No one could stop Long Fei. No one could stop Long Fei. Nobody. This time, he would definitely slash down. For the sake of experience, for the sake of true breath, for the sake of the dragon salyer, and also for the sake of the Long family. Unstoppable. The power of Mountain Hit Fist, the power of the peerless attribute, the power of the great desolate mountain demon king, and the godly tiger blood lineage all burst out from his arms as he slashed down. The blood-red saber chi shot straight into the sky, tearing apart the thick layer of clouds, and roared, "No one can stop me! Kill!" Kacha! A flash of lightning slashed down. He directly slashed between Nangong Hua's eyebrows, and his body was instantly split into two halves. The blade energy shook the entire Violet Gold Temple, and split it into two before collapsing with a loud bang. Standing in the deep pit, stepping on Nangong Hua's corpse, he roared, "Can't kill? Is he dead now?" At this moment, Long Fei moved. "Touch your striking attribute. Dragon Salyer. Dragon Salyer. You must reveal the other half of the Dragon Salyer for me." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing, Nangong Hua for gaining EXP, True Breath points, energy values, and points. 10. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sky Tyrant armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Sky Tyrant sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Overlord Godwing. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sky Tyrant boots. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Emperor's Vein Jade seal. A series of notifications sounded as Long Fei listened. His expression became more and more excited. The set has dropped a set. Ha ha. A set dropped. Striking attribute is striking attribute. It's too much. Long Fei looked at the items that dropped one by one. He was way too excited. Every time he used Berserk energy, it felt so good. However, Long Fei also clearly understood in his heart that striking attribute wasn't something that could be casually used to drop good items. For example, for the first time, the Toad had only dropped a single divine ranked martial technique because the Toad's level was too low, so it had to use its striking attribute on the boss in order to drop even more powerful items. And then Long Fei immediately checked the properties of the equipment. Item: Sky Tyrant Armor Grade. Divine Level Description: able to resist attacks below the War Emperor realm. Item: Sky Tyrant Sword Grade. Divine Level Description: attached with a set of the Sky Tyrant Sword technique, the ability to gather the power of the sky in an instant and cause 10 times the critical amount of damage. Item: Overlord God Wing Grade. Divine Level Description: increases flight speed. Item: Sky Tyrant Boots Grade. Divine Level Description: able to increase movement speed by 2-fold, with a wind attribute bonus of 10%. They are all divine level. Long Fei was so excited that he was a little confused. It was already impressive to have dropped a piece of divine level equipment, but to have dropped 4 pieces, and it was even a set. Ding! Wear it. Yes, sir. Without any hesitation, Long Fei moved the idea and immediately equipped all of these items. Ding! Do you want to hide your appearance? Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, yes, in order not to cause chaos or to hide his appearance. A set of divine level equipment was too eye-catching. Moreover, Long Fei was not the only one here. There was also the Blood Refinement sect and the Xiang Tian sect. Keep a low profile. Keeping a low profile was the way to go. Furthermore, he could control it as he wished. As long as the idea moved, he could release the external appearances of these tyrant equivalent equipment. The complete set of black armor, wings, sword, and battle boots were all engraved with simple runes. This was the perfect combination of refining and the power of runes. The power of Tyrant's equipment also came from these runes. He had revealed a set of godly equipment. It was indeed enjoyable, but the only thing that made Long Fei unhappy was that he did not reveal the other half of the Dragon Salyer. Seems like I have to complete the Dragon Salyer mission personally. Long Fei's heart trembled as Long Fei excitedly observed the equipment. Everyone in the courtyard of Violet Gold Temple looked at Long Fei in a daze. Is he still human? No, he is a god. Is he really human? Damn, I already said he is a god. He's simply not a human. Your your father said that he is a god, but your mother is an idiot. I said he's a god, a god, a god. If you dare to say another word, I'll kill you. Unparalleled power, killing Nagong Ao in a second, and then killing Nangong Hua in a second. Long Fei unleashed an incomparable power every single time, looking extremely intrepid every time he broke his limits. Nangong Hua's cultivation was too strong. But so what? He still died in the hands of Long Fei. Every time Long Fei released his cultivation technique, it would always be incomparably powerful, and simply did not give Nangong Hui any chance to retaliate, as there was absolutely no leeway for him to do so. Xiao Changfeng frowned. He was extremely shocked. Too powerful, too powerful. His talent is probably comparable to Hong Tianjuan's, but I have never seen such a shocking power. The 3 sisters of the Heaven sect. Xiao Tiantian laughed until he cried, "Bastard, you're so strong, I can't even control you." Yi Zian also said, "He's too handsome. He's the most handsome person I've ever seen. How can he be this handsome? He can't take it anymore. He can't take it anymore. I have to fall for him more and more uncontrollably." Amongst these people, Nangong Yen was the most arrogant, and the one who would most hate to see Long Fei become stronger. Amongst these people, Nangong Yen was the most arrogant, and the one who would most hate to see Long Fei become stronger. She had always thought that her choice was the right one. Long Fei possessed the dragon god's blood lineage, and had asked her father to propose a marriage arrangement, allowing Nangong Hua to propose a marriage, because at that time, she knew that she would definitely become the strongest woman in the Fireglass City. because of the dragon god blood lineage. After Long Fei was crippled, her face immediately changed like flipping a book as she drew a clear line between them. At the same time, she was also looking for a better replacement. Dongfang Jian appeared. Once again, she made a choice. The Sky Sect was above the Fireglass dynasty. As long as she followed Dongfang Jian, she could look down on Long Fei. Dongfang Jian had also allowed her to enjoy limitless glory. But now, it turned out that she had once again made the wrong choice. The divine Zhuge family was gone, her grandfather was dead, and her father was probably dead as well. Right now, she was the only one left. Even if Dongfang Jian could not protect himself in this situation, it would be hard to bring her away. All of a sudden, Nangong Yen had already walked to the edge of the cliff. She could have been high and mighty, but now, at this time, the leader of the blood refinement sect let out a cold laugh and said, "Looks like this place is over. The Nangong Imperial clan no longer has any value. In that case, we should leave as well." Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he looked at the man. That person also noticed Long Fei's ice-cold gaze and could not help but sneer. "What? I want to leave. Do you still want to stay?" "Long Fei, you are very strong, but if you want to go against the blood refinement sect, you don't have the qualifications." Finished, the man's eyes narrowed, and he shouted, "Disciples of the blood refinement sect, listen up. Go back." "Wait a minute." Suddenly, Nangong Yen walked up, directly kneeling on the ground, and said, "Please bring me along. I am willing to do anything." "Huh." The man who was chasing after the 3 Sky Sect sisters in the Fire Glass Mountain range laughed lewdly and said, "Are you willing to do anything?" Nangong Yen immediately took off his outer garment, revealing an apron that covered his snow-white skin. With boundless temptation, he said, "I'm willing to do anything." While they were talking, there were no ripples in her eyes. It was as if she was dead. Dongfang Jian took a step forward and said, "Sister Yen, why are you doing this? I will bring you to the sect." Nangong Yen said coldly, "Heaven's sect? Can you help me kill Long Fei?" "You can't. You are just a piece of trash. I, Nangong Yen, am definitely not going to be with a piece of trash for the rest of my life." "Ha ha ha." That blood refinement sect disciple laughed out loud and said, "He can't, as long as our blood refinement sect is able to join our blood refinement sect. It would take you less than 3 years to kill Long Fei. I heard that your marriage contract has 3 years more to go. It just so happens that you have 3 years to get married and kill Long Fei. Just thinking about it makes you excited. Ha! Come." He extended his hand out to Nangong Yen. "Long Fei, just you wait. Sooner or later, I'll come back, and I'll return everything that happened today to you 10,000 times over. I, Nangong Yen, swear to the heavens." Finished, she took out a dagger and slashed at her beautiful face. His face was ruined. A long scar appeared, and fresh blood dripped down. The blood refinement sect disciple was taken aback, but he didn't let go. He let out a strange laugh and said, "You're looking more and more like a disciple of our blood refinement sect." Ha ha ha. Immediately, the group of people moved as fast as lightning. In the night sky, "Long Fei, just you wait." Ha ha ha. A mournful, ghost-like laughter rang out in the air. Long Fei walked out of the pit, shaking his head and smiling bitterly. What's the point of this? Actually, Long Fei didn't plan to kill her, but from the looks of it, if they met each other in the future, it would definitely be a fight to the death. Xiao Changfeng hugged his hands and said, "Long Fei, I am extremely grateful for today's matter. In the future, when the day comes, I will definitely repay you." "In return for what?" "Repay him?" "Xiao Changfeng, is your brain full of shit? If it wasn't for him, I would have been reduced to this state. If it wasn't for him, would Yen Fei have left me? Long Fei, if you dare take a step into the Heaven sect, I will break your legs. Dongfang Jian said as he gnashed his teeth. Lu Luoxi immediately asked, Dongfang Jian, what did you say? Xiao Tian also scolded, do you think that the Heaven sect is your home? Huh. Yi Zian imitated Long Fei's words and said, I'm giving you face, right? Long Fei's mouth curved up and said coldly, why wait until the time of the previous sky sect? Now come and break my legs. Come on. Dongfang Jian frowned and did not make a sound. Long Fei suddenly roared and said angrily, come, the F***CK, are you scared now? While they were talking, the dense chi on Long Fei's body rushed forward. The dragon Salyer released a violent blade cry. The blood-red blade, aura, on the blade's body continued to flicker. Killing intent. An incredibly thick killing intent. Dongfang Jian clenched his fists tightly, but he did not dare say a single word. Xiao Changfeng knelt on the ground and said, Long Fei, please forgive young Master Dongfang. This old servant will kowtow for you. He's staying in the Violet Gold Temple alone. We don't know what he's doing. I just saw young Master Long Fei going towards the direction of the Supreme Temple. Long Sanfeng frowned and bellowed, Damn it! Immediately, Long Sanfeng roared fiercely, all the energy in his body exploding out as he rushed towards the direction of the great temple. Nangong Wudi, if you dare to even touch a single hair of my grandson, this father will forever be irreconcilable with you. Long Zhanhai shouted, Long Yun, have you brought the dragon-locked tactical method dragon army that you have been secretly training with? Long Yun frowned and replied, reporting to Patriarch, Yunlong army was heavily injured in the great desolate mountain last time. Right now, there is only a small portion of Yunlong army left. This is bad. Long Zhanhai's heart sank. Don't worry about it. Meng Yu, bring your men to clear out the remnants of the resistance. Not a single person from the Nangong family should let them escape. The remaining people all follow me. Long Fei, don't do anything stupid. Don't be rash. Long Zhanhai was very worried in his heart. It was not because he was worried about Nangong Wudi, but rather inescapable snare tactical method. This was the strongest trump card of the Nangong Imperial clan. This formation's destructive power was extremely strong, even more so than the dragon-locked tactical method. Once inside the formation, one could forget about coming out alive. A floating life. Table of contents, no windows, A++ at the entrance to the temple. Long Fei stepped into the plaza, and around him was a huge plaza. In the middle of the plaza was a huge building, and at the entrance of the building stood an old man. The old man was holding the other half of the dragon Salyer. It's out. Chapter 78_8419/2356527. Nangong Wudi. Nangong Wudi, the master of the Nangong Imperial clan, the strongest warrior in the Fire-Glass City. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The dragon Salyer in Long Fei's hand trembled non-stop, releasing sets of ear-piercing blade sounds, as though it could fly out of his hand at any time. The dragon Salyer was roaring. Long Fei could feel that the roars inside its body were filled with rage. Long Fei! Nangong Wudi shouted in anger, his voice exploding in the night sky, causing the entire plaza to reverberate. Even Long Fei, who was a kilometer away from him, could feel the powerful aura. Unrivaled power, Nangong Wudi said in a gloomy voice. I never thought that the one who would overthrow my Nangong family would be a trash like you. I really shouldn't have let you live. Long Fei slowly walked into the temple and walked forward step by step, If you were talking about the past, then my Long family's ancestors should not have been able to rule over your Nan Gong family. Without my Long family, where would your Nan Gong family come from? It is your Nan Gong family that does not know how to cherish it. Those who touch my Long family die. Your Nan Gong family has tolerated your Nan Gong family for so long, and the Long family has endured it repeatedly. However, your Nan Gong family is not repenting and has increased in strength. Since that's the case, we'll take back the world that belongs to our Long family. Long Fei walked very slowly, taking each step very carefully. His aura surged. However, he couldn't feel any danger at all. Even Xiao Bai, who was following beside him, could not detect it. There was only Nangong Wudi in the entire plaza and no one else. Moreover, Long Fei had to step forward because Nangong Wudi's body was glowing with a golden light. He had to step forward and kill this golden boss. Nangong Wudi laughed wildly and said, "Your Long family's under heaven? Ha ha ha. How ridiculous. What kind of thing is your Long family? Do you think killing the other 3 pillars and killing the Nangong Imperial clan's Fireglass dynasty is the world of your Long family? Stop dreaming. And you're going to die soon." Wahaha. Nangong Wudi laughed sinisterly, his eyes filled with killing intent in front of the true Supreme Temple. Long Fei laughed. "Your grandson said that I will die. I am alive. He is dead. Your son also said that I will die. I am still alive. He is dead. Now it is your turn." Humph! Nangong Wudi's gaze tensed up. "You are about to die, yet you still dare to be so arrogant." Long Fei grinned and laughed. "Is this what you call arrogance? I'm even more arrogant than you have never seen before." While speaking, Long Fei walked forward another few steps. He stared at Nangong Wudi, who was covered in gold, and said, "A boss covered in gold? You have to kill him." "Ha! I must kill him." Seeing the boss made him drool, as if he was seeing a naked woman. He had to do it to her. Suddenly, a shout came from behind Long Fei. "Xiao Fei, don't ever enter the temple." Before anyone could make a sound, it fell. Long Fei turned around to look at the entrance that was a few hundred meters away. "Grandfather, why have you come?" "Ha ha ha. Lunatic Long, you came late. Your darling grandson is going to die right now." Nangong Wudi laughed coldly, his brows shook, and his voice became hoarse as he shouted, "Inescapable snare tactical method, activate." As soon as he finished, a huge true breath surged from the center of Nangong Wudi's palm as he slammed it onto the ground. The ground cracked. The countless true breaths in the crevices were moving recklessly, constantly blinking their cultivation techniques, causing the entire temple to tremble as endless killing intent poured out from within. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The floor of the temple split open, and a warrior in black armor walked out. They're not real people, they're ghost. They were all ghost warrior. Every one of them was a spirit body, but each one of them emitted a cruel aura just like a real person. Thousands of spirits were gathered in the square. With the magic weapon in his hand, his gaze locked onto Long Fei. Lunatic Long's heart sank, anger soared to the skies. "Nangong Wudi, you dare!" His heart was filled with incomparable shock. He had thought that the Imperial Net was the Nangong Imperial clan's strongest trump card, but he was also clear that the inescapable snare tactical method was extremely difficult to cultivate, even if it wasn't powerful enough. However, Dragon Madman never thought that the Nangong Imperial clan would actually kill all those who had cultivated the inescapable snare tactical method arts back then, refine their souls, and turn them into ghost magic weapon. That way, they would be able to completely preserve the power of the inescapable snare tactical method. Too vicious. The lives of thousands of people were refined just like that. Moreover, For thousands of years, he had been enslaved by the Nangong imperial clan. He could only guard the square of the Supreme Temple and could never be reincarnated. He had to say it. The methods of the Nangong imperial clan were too sinister. Ha ha ha. Lunatic Long, you also have times to be afraid? Nangong Woody laughed coldly and said, Do you know who this was used against back then? They are the same people that were used to deal with you, Long Family's Dragon Slayer. Back then, the Dragon Slayer, holy general, killed all the evil demons, and their bodies were completely exhausted. Afterwards, they were sealed in the valley by our Nangong imperial clan with our inescapable snare tactical method. But I never thought that the Dragon Slayer god relied on the supreme artifact S to kill more than 1,000 of the Nangong family's elites, and the inescapable snare tactical method also lost its power at that time. No one would have thought that our Nangong family was a branch of the blood refinement sect at that time, using the blood refinement art to extract all of these dead souls, and then killing the other 1,800 elite inescapable snare tactical method cultivators, controlling their souls forever, allowing them to protect our Nangong family forever. Ha! The more Nangong Woody said, the more excited he became, as if he had done something great. The inescapable snare tight tactical method has been preserved forever by our Nangong imperial clan. Their souls are forever under our control. Ha ha ha! The half of the dragon salyer in Nangong Woody's hand trembled and roared furiously. Activate the formation, kill Long Fei, and remove his soul for me. I want his soul to forever kneel in front of the Nangong imperial clan's great temple, and I want your Long family to be eternally doomed. Ha ha ha! As soon as he finished speaking, the ghost warrior S started to revolve madly, as if they were huge machines. Long Sanfeng became anxious and rushed forward without a care for anything else. Xiao Fei. However, the moment he stepped into the vicinity of the temple, he was sent flying by a powerful aura. He then stuck on the wall of the temple and spat out a mouthful of blood. Strongest upgrade system. Nangong Woody laughed loudly. Ha ha! Lunatic Long, don't waste your energy. The Dragon Slayer god was an expert of the War Emperor realm back then, and even he was not able to charge out. He will slowly die in front of you, watching his own grandson slowly die. This must be a great feeling. Ha ha ha! Long Fei stood in place. I understand that there is a boss here, but this formation can even be a boss. Chapter 8. 8_8419/2356528. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.